Clobbering time!
Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed.
Roger. Ready to move out.
Clob.
Hey, sorry, some glitchy slowness there on the part of StreamYards, I think, my friends, but I hope you're hearing me now. Welcome, everybody, to Saturday Night Star Trek number 98. Whee! There we go. We miss you. Welcome, my good friend. Sorry about that, a little distracted. I was writing down names as we speak. Good to see you all, my dear friends. Always fantastic to have you here on a Saturday Night Star Trek, starting season 4 of Deep Space Nine tonight with the most wonderful first officer in the fleet, and also she's not just that, she's also a magnificent science fiction author of science fiction short stories. The wonderful R.M. Briggs, Commander R.M. Briggs. Welcome.
I love you. Thank you for that warm welcome. I always feel like I don't deserve that warm welcome, but you know, you're one of my best friends in the whole wide world.
I'm ordering you to deserve it.
I love you so much. I have so much fun hanging out with you. So I'm so stoked for tonight. I'm in such a good mood. I am so excited to see everyone and to talk about these episodes. I think we're going to have a rockin' time tonight.
Absolutely. Boosh says he can't say Boosh McFadden. Shout out. Sorry you can't stay, but I'm glad you popped in to say hello.
Boosh! We love you too, sweetheart.
Great to have you pop in. Good to see you. Hope you were doing well and have a wonderful, whatever you're doing tonight. Have a good time doing it. Yeah. Let's see up in here. Well, it's great to see you. Like I said, yes, here we go. We're already to season 4. We'll get down to beeswax in a second. We'll just do some show notes and some shout outs, and then we'll start reviewing stuff. What do you think? Get an early start.
We should do it.
Oh, okay. Hey, Jill. Jill will be here, but she'll be dropping some review. Live, you got some reviews. That's cool, Jill. If you got the reviews,
Good.
There you go. All right, then. Well, let's see here. Show notes, everybody. We're going to get right to it. We'll try to try to waste as little time as possible getting down to the beeswax here. Tomorrow night, of course, as always, on the great Mark D with the C's channel. Mark D will probably pop in later, we hope. Big shout out to him and him, what's going on with him. We should hopefully get to hang out with him later. But tomorrow night on the Sunday Night Geekery, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, of course. I'll be over there hanging out with him and the gang. Hopefully you will all join us for that. It's a lot of fun. On Monday night, Mark C. Comics Talk. My good buddy Carlos of the Comics Mania podcast from all the way down from Mexico will be joining me for a Clobby's Classic Comics review. We will review the John Byrne epic team up, kind of a tribute to our good buddy Mark C., who loved him. Yeah. He loved John Byrne. The Batman Captain America team up from the 90s. And a classic. It's often been said there's certain things in nature that, like, for example, and this is one of them, when someone says, who would win, Batman or Captain America? And some of us say there are some things that mankind was not meant to know. Nevertheless, we're going to review this comic, and we will dedicate it to our good long lost buddy Mark C.
You received a gift from JT Kirk.
JT Kirk, buddy. He says, my hardcover first edition of Science Fiction Tales by R.M. Briggs finally arrived in the mail today. Too cool. Well, thank you. That's fantastic, buddy.
I'm so excited. I hope you love it. And I hope it looks nice, because I should let everyone know that they would not send a proof to me of the hard copy, and they even had trouble sending the paperback proofs to me. So I've never seen the physical hard copy, and I will never be able to order it. Like, there's no way I can get a hold of it. So JT Kirk, if it's not in nice condition, if it's messed up in any way, if they screwed up anything with that print job, please let me know, and I will do what I can to remedy it. But very, very a weird process to be a Canadian trying to
That's crazy.
Publish these stories, and you don't even get to see a proof. It's so weird. I know.
So nuts.
Anyway,
but thank you, JT. But thank you, JT. Absolutely. Other show note. I should be hanging out, of course, with Tom and the gang on Tuesday night of the Midnight's Edge After Dark with that great august gang and panel. Great people. Love hanging out there with Tom. We love Tom and the Midnight's Edge gang. What a good group. And then, of course, Wednesday night, I think Loki and I will have the comic book roundtable. We will see, but I can tell you one thing about Wednesday night. Wildcard Wednesday night will have a topic. Not a topic, actually, just a guest, a great guest. The great Retro Blasting, my wonderful Retro Blasting pal, Michael French, will be hanging out with me to just basically a lot of times we actually do specific topics, but I think that night we'll just sit back and talk about what's going on in the geek world and things going on with him and whatnot. Just have a kind of a sit back visit, because I don't get to go up there and hang with him and his wonderful wife Melinda that much anymore. It's been a while, but every now and then I like to just miss talking to my good buddy Michael. He is just the best, and love the man, and he is one of the greats on YouTube and a wonderful friend. And I'm looking forward to talking to him on Wednesday night. So, and of course we'll have the clubhouse on Thursday night, and then Nick's comic shop on Friday night, and then another Saturday night Star Trek the week following. So. All kind of busyness on Clobberin times. Yes.
Boss, I got to tap the brakes. I'm so sorry to interrupt your train of thought, but I think we have accidentally confused and perhaps worried Mr. Angel. Mr. Angel, we love you very much. We hope you are on the mend. Nothing has happened to Mark. Mark D with a C our chief engineer, his offspring is in town because his offspring is having a birthday. So, but when Clobby was talking about Mark, he was actually talking about a friend of ours, Mark Stephen Ture. And some of us knew him like in real life, and he passed away. And he was quite close with Clobby, and we all really loved him a lot. So Clobby dedicated an entire show to his memory. So when he was talking about Mark, and you see all the M's in the chat, it's not our Mark D with the C. He is just fine. He's at a birthday party. But Mark Stephen Ture was a friend of ours who we unfortunately lost, and we love him and we miss him. And so that's why he has an entire show dedicated to his memory here. So I hope that straightens everything out.
Yeah.
Don't worry about Mark, okay, honey?
Anytime you see that's Monday Night Mark C Comics Talk, that's a picture of him in the bottom. That's our poor, good old long lost buddy, poor old Mark C, which we miss very much. Mm-hmm. So anyway, let's do our shout outs. Let's say hello to everybody who has joined us so far. I think I got everybody written up. I hope so. So of course, as always, we like to shout out whether they're here or not. Our fantastic wrench pals. We've got some great buddies here. Of course, the great Eric, the bronze wrencher himself, the great Eric K.
Love
Appreciate you. Thank you, buddy, so much. And again, thank you for that picture. The great Chris Persia, the vindicated wrencher of the North. What a fantastic friend.
Love that man. Love that man.
All you do. We appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for all you do. The great D. Bud Martin. I don't even know if D. Bud's here, but
yes, he is. And he's
okay.
sharing everyone's URLs and welcoming everyone into the room. D. Bud Martin, you are a rock star. I love you.
Thank you. Well, the reason I say that is because I can't look at the chat. I'm doing this.
I know you can't, honey. I know, because you have to keep an account of everyone who's here. So don't worry about it. I got you back.
The wrench of iron. And of course, a big shout out. Whether he's here or not, he gets a shout out because he's a member of the Saturday Night Star Trek crew. The great Lord Thoth.
LT.
Is, of course, a god of wrenchers. And I think our buddy Phantom Outsider is here with us tonight. So we shout him out. He's a Phantom wrencher. And so we'll say hello. We'll start out by saying hello to Phantom Outsider. And also to Apollome's Minion and the Pupper.
The Pupperoni. The Pupperoni.
I'm working on it. So let us see who else is here with us Saturday evening. I like to write them all down so we can, because it's impossible to do it with the chat,
Well, boss, we have all of our 735ers here. Well, the majority of them, and so they're ready and willing and able, and they know what's happening.
Okay.
But you know who doesn't? A wonderful gentleman by the name of Victor Fontaine.
I see him. I got him written down.
Wicked. Okay, so I just wanted to take a second to say, Victor, welcome to the show. Welcome to the chat. We're so happy that you joined us, and we hope that you have a wonderful time tonight. And it doesn't matter that you missed those first 3 seasons. We'll get you caught up, and you're going to have a blast.
Yes, it's fantastic to have you here, Victor. And we all who doesn't like old James Darren, the great Vic Fontaine.
Mm-hmm. Vic Fontaine.
James Darren, of course, we all know who he's referring to, Vic Fontaine, a character in later seasons from the holodeck. But I always think of James Darren as from the Time Tunnel. So here with us this evening, of course, the aforementioned J.T. Kirk. Thank you, buddy. Good to see you.
Kirk. You already know I love you.
Shooter.
Pew, 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 pew.
Pleasant Valley Picker.
PPP.
Classic Comics. Hey, buddy. Michael Carney. Hello.
Evening, Michael.
Brian Hepburn.
Hello, Brian. Nice to see you.
Good to see you, buddy. Let's see here. See it. I hope I don't miss anybody when I come in there. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Sandra Feliciano is here, but I think she says our good Feliciano buddies she says they're at a Christmas party.
Aww.
I got you covered. Hey, Sandra, that's okay. Thanks for popping in and say hello. We love you guys. You guys take care. I hope you have a good time at the party.
Yeah.
Dave G Sound. Hope you're doing well, buddy.
Yes. Hello, sweetheart.
The great Steve Mitchum, Maddie's daddy. What's up, bro?
Thor in Vegas.
Good to see you there, buddy. Kal-El, buddy. What's up?
Real soap.
The great Michael Beacom, and I hope Cassandra is doing well. Please say hello to her for us.
And if you're new here, please pay special attention to Michael Beacom. Michael Beacom has a vetted text of original source material chronicling the actual production facts. So not internet folklore, not the crap you read on IMDb or the mess that they're making of Memory Alpha. Here we just do the facts, Jack. And so I don't have my book handy. And so in my stead, the wonderful Michael and Cassandra Beacom put up that beautiful in-text citation offering facts about this show. And it's quite marvelous. So watch that space. Watch that space.
Absolutely, absolutely. Enigmatic Drop Bear, ED, buddy. Good to see you.
The Erudite Bear. Going to have some awesome reviews tonight.
Great to see you, buddy. Mr. Angel, always good to see you, my friend. I hope you're feeling well. Hope you're doing well.
He says he'll be right back. He's just going to go make a cup of
tea. There you go. Good job. I think the aforementioned Bush McFadden, who I said he had to run, but good. We're glad he was able to stop by and say hello. Wolfie's here.
Ow, ow, ow.
He's Michael says he sent me a picture of the book. Great. I guess it's an email. It's pretty great. Oh, cool. Great. We'll take a look at that later. Thank you so much.
Michael, make sure it passes the sniff test. If there's anything wrong with it, thumb through it. If you see any errors or anything like that, please let me know. You have no idea how bizarre it is to publish a book that you don't get to see.
It is bizarre.
That is very weird.
That's a new one on me. Thank you, Michael. I will pass it on. Raquel can remind me later, and I'll make sure she gets to see it.
Thank you, Michael.
Tim's talk, buddy. On your
to the left. Everything you own in the box to the left.
Tyrell 72.
Tyrell.
Hey, buddy. Good to see you. I want to shout out to everyone out there who is lurking. We love the lurkers, and anyone who happens to be listening on a download or a repeat. Oh my goodness! Look who popped in. Eric O'Sullivan.
Fine Irishman. He says, "Hey, all. Hi, Eric. How are you, sweetheart?
What is up, dude? Excited to see you, buddy. It's good, man. Always good. Nice to have you pop in. I know you were a busy man working late. Oh, my goodness.
J-Man!
J-Man.
Speaking of authors, not only is J-Man an author, but his wife is an award-winning Canadian poet. Please follow J-Man's link. Get in touch with him. Get in touch with his work. Get in touch with his YouTube show. One heck of a guy. And look who else. Look who just walked in. Matt J!
Hey, Matt J, good to see you, buddy. All right.
And Tyrell, you be careful at work tonight, hey? Don't work too hard. Keep your head on a swivel. And, it's a great honor that you play us at work. We just absolutely love you. I think it's so cool that you log into work and then you log on with us and then you just start your work day and we're your entertainment. That's a huge honor for us, Tyrell. We just love you. Don't work too hard. And if you do a job that's physical, I don't know what kind of job you do, but if it's physical, I want you to be safe, be careful, and we'll see you at the end of the show. We're sending our love and support to you.
Yeah, buddy. The Catman is here.
Dee Myers,
a.k.a. Day Myers, and Captain James C. Skywalker.
Skywalker.
What is up?
And Dee Myers, I want to say hello to your wife as well. Let her know that Clubby and I said hello, please.
Please do. Absolutely. Hello to your lovely wife, and I hope you are all doing well. And good to see you, James T. Skywalker. All right, let's see. Anyone else who pops in, we will definitely try to get him. I always try to write them down and try to catch them. We hate to leave anybody out. We like to shout everybody out because you're all very important to us. Forklifts. I've driven forklifts from time to time myself. I know that's a lot of fun there, Terrell. Gotcha.
Yeah. Be safe then, hey, you.
Indeedishness. So, well, here we go. How about we get down to beeswax, folks? Let us start with our first review of the night. What we do here, folks, we'll just set it up a little bit for you. as number one had mentioned, there was a reference work that Michael Beacom works from that we don't really he references from it some. We don't read from that. We just basically Raquel reads from like Wikipedia. She'll explain that, but it is something that if you want to read a bit about the Deep Space Nine show and this is definitely a good one. I will turn this over now to my first officer after I just tell you that we have been reviewing Star Trek since January of 2021. We started with the original series, then the animated series, the original crew films, TNG, and tonight we're starting on season 4 of Deep Space Nine. So we've been at it a long time. We're going to do all of Real Trek 66 through 05, the 735 as Raquel calls it, and only real Star Trek. Nothing after 2005 is real Trek. And so we're going to be here a while doing this. And others is what we're saying. We try to do 4 episodes a night, unless it's the end of a season where we're doing a few. Tonight we have 4 plus because one of them is a little bit longer, but I'm counting The Way of the Warrior as one. And now I will turn the con over to my wonderful first officer, R.M. Briggs, Commander.
Hey, boss.
R.M.
Hey,
Briggs.
boss. Bubba Doom just walked through the door.
Hey, Bubba Doom.
Yeah, and you saw
Bubba
that Erdman text, and Paula M. Block is writing second chair on that. I have a degree in writing, and I'm a communications and technology scholar. So I went to grad school, and that's what I do. I'm an academic for a living. So I vetted that Erdman text, and I vetted that text because it's original source material. So that should be what we're reading from on this show, and that's typically what we do. But Paula M. Block is Terry J. Erdman's wife. And she is sensational at making these beautiful books that have original source material in them, but they're really concise and they offer the most beautiful summaries. They're quick and they're very informative, and because it's original source that it's good stuff. So we usually use her books, but she did not write this the DS9 book. Her husband did, and he takes a long time to explain everything he wants to say. There are some entries in the book I confirmed with Mark that are like between 15 and 17 pages, I believe. It's really long. Too long for the show. So unfortunately, we are using Wikipedia, but we're not using it for
Just
any
for
facts.
synopsis.
Just for the synopsis.
There's Chris, by the way. Chris Burgess here, everybody.
Oh, baby. We said hello to you
Yo, bro.
earlier.
Oh,
Love,
yeah,
love,
we
love
shouted
you,
you out.
honey.
Good
Thank
to
you
see
for
you,
the
brother.
gorgeous show poster tonight. Your show poster was awesome.
Great to see you, buddy. So there you go. So shall we start with our first episode?
Yes, let's do it.
All right, folks. Season 4 begins now. And our first episode of the evening is, of course, The Way of the Warrior. I count them as just, it's a 2-parter in some places, but originally, I don't know if it originally aired as a film or not, but when I watch it like on certain streams and different things like that, it goes as one. Just depends on, which format. So we're just going to review it as one whole story if it's all the same to you all, but you can all, of course, do it any way you want, but that's the way I'm doing it. So.
Yeah, but people should know, like our listeners and just the public at large should know that this is an international show. So we do our best to address all of the different ways that things are numbered and the way that the streaming services all over the world have broken down these shows. And we do it by addressing the issues as we know it, the facts as we know it about the production. We do give that prod number, the production code number, and we talk about how things move around. And tonight, as the boss has said, that definitely happens with The Way of the Warrior. And so it's a little bit confused. Let me explain. And if Michael Beacom wants to add anything from the vetted text from that original source material, please look for it in the chat. But I'm just going to get to it really quick and let you know now that The Way of the Warrior. Hey, Deadman
Clan! Good to see you, buddy.
So the boss is right, though. Okay, for folks in Canada and the United States, The Way of the Warrior is season 4. Now, you may see that as episode 1 and 2, and you'll see that actually throughout DS9. They break up their multi-episodes and their continuations in a very odd way. But I want you all to know that the boss is right, is dead to right on this one, because it's not really episode 1 and 2. It has one production code, which is 401, and it first aired. We all watched it for the very first time on October 2nd, 1995. So on October 2nd, we watched the whole thing. It was not broken up into 2 separate parts. So the boss is right on that one. And so now I'm going to turn your attention to the Wikipedia plot synopsis. Now, this is a cold read for me. I'm reading it extemporaneously. Sometimes the writing is good, sometimes the writing is bad, but we muddle through it. We muddle through it. So without further ado, let's find out about the plot, and then we'll get to talking about it. A Klingon armada led by General Martok arrives at Deep Space Nine. Martok tells Captain Sisko they are there to defend Federation allies against potential invasion from the Dominion, a hostile empire led by the shape-shifting changelings. As the Klingon soldiers spread throughout the station, they cause disruptions and beat up Cardassian Taylor and former spy Garak. A Klingon ship detains Cassidy Yates' freighter to search the ship for changelings. It takes a show of force from Sisko in the Defiant to convince the Klingon commander to back off, but the Klingons continue detaining ships just outside Deep Space Nine's jurisdiction. Sisko sends for the sole Klingon in Starfleet, Lieutenant Commander Worf, to help deal with the Klingons. Although Worf is considering resigning from Starfleet, he investigates the Klingon fleet and discovers its true purpose. The Klingon Empire plans on attacking Cardassia. The Cardassian military government has been overthrown in favor of the civilian Detapa Council, but the Klingons believe that the coup was engineered by the Dominion as a way to take control of Cardassia. Sisko warns Martok that such an attack would jeopardize the Federation alliance with the Klingons, but Martok orders the invasion to proceed. Sisko allows Garak to overhear news of the invasion. He, in turn, warns Cardassia. Once the Federation condemns the invasion, the Klingon Empire withdraws from the Khitomer Accords, ending its alliance with the Federation. Klingon Chancellor Gowron, Riley, I love you, invites Worf to join the invasion, but Worf refuses out of loyalty to Starfleet, jeopardizing his family's social status in the Klingon Empire. Actually, it doesn't jeopardize it that whomever wrote this wrong, because Gowron outright tells him that basically, the House of Moog will be in trouble again. So it's not jeopardizing it. Actually happens. Anyways, I'll keep reading.
Yes.
Sisko convinces the Detapa Council to flee Cardassia and seek refuge at DS9, escorted by the Defiant. At the rendezvous point, the Cardassians are attacked by Klingon ships. The Defiant joins the battle, rescuing the Council. When the Defiant returns to DS9, Sisko informs Gowron that the Council members are not changelings, but Gowron orders his fleet to attack DS9 anyway. DS9 defends itself with newly upgraded weapon systems, destroying many Klingon ships. Klingon boarding parties beam into DS9. That should be beam on DS9. But the crew fights them off and regains control of the situation. With Starfleet reinforcements on their way, the Klingon ships have no choice but to retreat. Over Martok's protest, Gowron calls off the invasion of Cardassia, but refuses to cede the outlying Cardassian planets the Klingons have already seized. Worf decides to remain in Starfleet and accepts the post of Strategic Operations Officer on DS9. And that is all the collective internet has to say about The Way of the Warrior. And now I'm going to turn it over to the captain. Captain, my captain, please tell me, what did you think about this episode?
I love it.
Me too.
This Star Trek is a science fiction show. We talk a lot around here about or certain episodes, whether they're science fiction or not. But Star Trek is other things too. It's an adventure. It is a drama. It is those things. And Deep Space Nine, while it's rarely grounded in pure science fiction, we know its bread and butter is adventure, intrigue, and, war and all that kind of stuff. Whether you like it or not, that's what it is. And very few episodes do it as well as this one. getting to see Worf show up was just a treat. I know there's a mention at the beginning. There's a mention between he and Cisco. This obviously takes place right after the Enterprise was crash landed in Generations. This is just Trek doing something that is also done well. Just as it's done science fiction well, it's done adventure well. It's done intrigue well, and this one is one of the best of them all in terms of doing something like that. It is highly entertaining, exciting, great character moments all out throughout, not just Worf, everybody. This episode is brilliantly written, brilliantly acted, filled with a lot of tension, a lot of great scenes. Everybody gets to shine in this one. It does feel almost like a movie in a sense. I think it is highly entertaining in every single way.
A lot better than Generations.
Oh God, yeah. And it is absolutely a thrilling. This may be the episode. The show again. We've criticized a lot of episodes even in those first 3 seasons, and we've liked a lot of episodes in those first 3 seasons. I think this is the one that it's a turning point for the series to set it on its path of being a show that it'll still be science fiction at times, but it'll also be doing what I think these people, right or wrong, whether we like it or not, wanted to do with the show, which is explore what it is like to actually live in this Star Trek universe way out on the frontier. How adventurous and dangerous it would be. I think that's what this show is more about than just exploring space, and it does that very well. Quite often after the 4th season, and this is the one that launches that. The show kind of coming into its own. I believe this episode is really good for that.
Well, folks, I've only known Clobby for a little over 2 years. But in that time, we spend roughly, I would say, between 8 and 15 hours a week together. But we never discuss these shows, ever. We always wanted this show to be organic. So we don't pre-read what's on Wikipedia. We never discuss the episodes. And that's because we want to experience this with you together as a group. But I have to say, Clobby and I, we see eye to eye very often. And I'm going to say that I completely support all of your comments. Is this science fiction? No, it's not. But we often talk about the fact that DS9 is a drama set in space that tends to tinker with all different types of genres. And it often fails. But then it often triumphs. And this is one of them. I would say this is better than Generations. And it's funny that they're talking about losing.
Absolutely.
Oh,
yes.
By miles.
Hey, Lisa.
Hello, Lisa. Hi, sweetheart.
Good to see you,
and Darius
lady.
Munchausen.
Darius Munchausen, welcome.
And I would be remiss if I didn't tap the brakes on the show right now and say thank you to Eric K, the great bronze wrencher. We love you very much. And he has gone and bought more memberships for folks in the chat. So please take advantage of Eric K's generosity. Eric, I love you. Clobby and I love you.
Thank you, buddy.
We appreciate you so much. You are such a wonderful ambassador of this channel, of this show, just of our friendship in general. And you're outstanding. We adore you. Thank you so much for that.
Absolutely. And thank you, Eric K, for the $5 super chat. You're too kind, but you're very too kind, buddy. I appreciate it. He said, Clobby told me this episode will be better with Warrior Wesley. Well, I guess I should stop telling you things in confidence, I guess, because they're always going to out me. Just going to, shoot my secrets out there into the ether. I say how you are. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. Thank you. You're too kind, pal.
Beautiful, beautiful.
You're the man. Yeah. But yes, this episode, go with your notes. We'll go with your notes and we'll talk about it a little bit more after.
Okay, so if you're new here, because we had this idea of organic discussion, because we're a couple of old Trekkies, both Clobby and I have been watching Star Trek for over 45 years. So because of that, I was thinking, how can I add to the show without making it inorganic? And one way of doing that is I take notes on things that I know are facts about the show. because unfortunately, with the proliferation of social media, IMDb and Memory Alpha can no longer be trusted. A lot of the stuff you read on there is garbage. So I take notes while I watch the episode, and then I try and pepper that into the show. So when the captain, when the boss calls for notes, that's what he's calling for. So here are my notes for this episode. We finally get the line, Odo's people are better at shape-shifting than Odo. Oh, go ahead. Did you want to read that?
No, I was just showing it for them. No.
Okay.
Thank you. We'll hear you, though. We'll hear you
Yeah,
guys. Thank
so
you,
everyone knows that
Yes.
this is a huge continuity issue because, we have the shapeshifters appearing as Dr. Mora, only they're in these weird peach pajamas or flesh-colored pajamas. I shouldn't say pajamas because I'm Canadian, but I hang around with lots of Americans. I'm an adopted American, so I'm going to say pajamas. Don't make fun of me. I get a lot of heat from my fellow Canadians on that. And then we see there are several episodes where Odo's people can look like Kira, for instance, and look identical to her. And meanwhile, we have been told all along that Odo has great difficulty trying to make the human form. And of course, he models it after Dr. Mora. So this somewhat cleans it up, but not all the way. We finally get the line, like I said, Odo's people are better at shape-shifting than him. Still doesn't explain why they look like Dr. Mora in peach pajamas.
Unless they were doing it for his benefit. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And now we need that line that they're doing it for his benefit.
Yeah.
We have the bald Ben Sisko. Man, does he ever look handsome with the bald head. Wow, looks really good. It instantly gave him a Kojak feel. He looked tough. It gave him clout. I really love bald Ben Sisko. Definitely gave me Kojak vibes back in 1995 and still does to this day. Quark says the bar noise level is less than 30 decibels. Obviously, you guys know I'm a communications and technology scholar, and I did have an education and a bit of a career in radio. The writers have failed you here. And here we can tell that they're drama writers and not science fiction writers, because breathing is 10 dB. That's 10 decibels. Rustling leaves is 20 dB. A whisper is 30 dB. A single whisper is 30 dB. So conversation, moderate to quiet, entry level would be 60 dB. A fridge, for instance, a very quiet fridge is 40 dB. It's important to research science when you're writing science fiction. And I'm only highlighting this because I want people to understand that science fiction authors write science for you through doing research for everything they bring up. And that's to inspire you and to keep you interested. And there's an element of learning there. So, a restaurant with multiple people.
Here.
Hey, Maximum Redstone.
Hey, I got you. Thank you. Good.
So a restaurant with multiple people whispering even, or not talking at all, would at least be 70 to 80 dB, right? A pub where a dabo table would be going off, and maybe there's some music and clinking glasses and several people whispering and talking. There's definitely music playing. It's going to be about 100 dB, right? So, and I would guess, as a comm tech person, that a dabo table would be 60 dB. So make sure that when you are writing science fiction, you get your nose in a book and you get your facts straight, because the beautiful trinity of TOS is calling to you to do it right. A Klingon would know that Odo doesn't wear a uniform. And so we look to Ronald D. Moore here, and Ronald D. Moore should have caught that dumb line and should have had it scrubbed from the show. A Klingon knows Odo does not wear a uniform. That's a dumb thing to say. And then I wrote Worf in yelling all caps and underlined it 2 times with an exclamation point. My goodness, in 1995, Worf. I practically did a cartwheel in the living room when I saw him.
Mr. Wolf.
Yes, exactly. Mr. Wolf. The character interaction and dialogue during the dart game is simply outstanding. The writing by Ira Stephen Bear here and Robert Hewitt Wolf is pretty exceptional. That dialogue is very natural sounding. It's quite gorgeous. We fall in love with the characters all over again. No 735er ever called Jadzia Dax and Worf in hand-to-hand combat woke. That word everyone uses now, W-O-K-E, woke. Since 735ers are consistent in supporting sincerity. And so I think it's very important for those who love the filth and criticize the 735ers and traditional Star Trek people to notice that Jadzia Dax is tough and sexy. And these viewers, this audience, these Trekkies, they love it. They love Ripley.
Yeah.
They love Leia. They love Red Sonja. They love many, many tough, gorgeous women, especially when it's sincere. It has to be sincere, though, okay? The Taylor scene is brilliant.
Done, yeah.
I'm sorry.
And well done. Yeah, sorry about that. DJ Ronnie G, hello there.
Hey, DJ Ronnie D!
Welcome. Good.
The Taylor scene is absolutely brilliant. I love this very smart spy element, spy writing here. That would be the way to tip off the Cardassians by involving Garrick. Whoever put that forward in the writer's room, oh, chef's kiss. Galeron is glorious. I love Riley. I think that he is just the greatest thing since sliced bread. Robert O'Reilly, a fine Irishman. Just every time I see him on screen, I am delighted, even when he's behaving badly. I love the O'Brien audience jab about the malfunctioning holodecks. This is a fun inside joke for the people from the TOS and TNG generation. I think it's just great. Worf says he's never been on a Federation ship that could cloak. Here we have the writers, perhaps it's Ronald D. Moore, who read the Bible and then said, I'm not going to obey Gene Roddenberry's Bible. We have him recognizing Gene's opposition to this, because Gene vehemently opposed any type of cloaking. And what we get is the typical Star Trek fan argument, and it's played out on screen. And because of that, I think it's a stroke of genius. I think it's brilliant. It's a conversation Claudia and I have on air often. And so we get this this Gene Roddenberry follow-up from Bashir when he says that cloaking is dishonorable. But then we get the new Trek people responding when Worf turns around and says, yeah, but you know, the only thing dishonorable is dying because somebody is out-teching you. So I think that it is a wonderful nod to Gene Roddenberry. I think it's a wonderful nod to the fact that they're being naughty by not following his Bible, but also giving a great discussion about why and why so many fans are for it and against it. And it's provided in a way where it doesn't decide for you. You decide. So this is a stroke of genius.
Indeed. They're out of Amanda Bear and Keely Chow.
Keely Chow. Roll Tide. So we have Bashir says the Federation has had 2 decades of peace with the Klingons. That's some interesting math. You'll often hear me pointing out the math fail here, but the Khitomer Accord was in 2293. Every Star Trek fan knows that. Khitomer happened in 2293. This show is happening right now at 2272. So that would be 79 years. So it should be 8 decades, not 2. So once again, you have these drama writers who aren't science fiction writers, who aren't Star Trek fans, really pooping the bed on the facts there. It's 8 decades, not 2 decades.
Very easily checked too. I mean, that's the kind of thing, you could have easily just found out.
Yeah. Go do your homework. The overabundance of fire in space isn't possible to this pew pew level. So we get some really fantastic pew pew here, and it's exciting and it's exhilarating, but that's way too much fire in space. Fire needs oxygen. So too much fire. Once again, the production people have got the color of Kanar incorrect. Once again, Kanar looks like really super thick cocoa or really super thick coffee. It's supposed to be sort of vulgar. It's supposed to be sort of oppressive. It's supposed to be off-putting
I forgot
because
about that.
these
Yeah.
Cardassians are villains. So the fact that Quark, once again, like before he poured Romulan ale or Andorian ale, whichever you prefer, and called it Kanar, and now we have him pouring Tranya and calling it Kanar. Get your crap together.
Yeah, they did mention Tranya.
Pardon?
Yeah.
Pardon?
They did mention Tranya, didn't they?
They do,
Yeah.
but get your Kanar color right. Kanar looks a little bit like baby poo and overcooked coffee. I love this beautiful interaction where Quark starts talking about how humans are sweet and cloying, and how we grow on the other species because of our kindness and our joy and our hope. And so when he calls us root beer, I think it's just some really outstanding writing, and I love it so much. It always brings a smile to my face. I also am very, very moved. Now, we have some folks with us who have served in the military. Some of you are police officers. Some of you are in the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. And so, and some of you have really seen some traumatic things. I absolutely adore this idea of Sisko saying that he thought he could take all of his pain, wrap it up as though it took on a physical form, an ugly physical form, and that he could take all that pain, wrap it up in his uniform, and toss it away. This conversation is one of the best conversations ever written in the history of Star Trek. It's gorgeous. It's glorious. It's so good. It's so good. It almost gives me goosebumps. And I sort of think it's a little bit weird that they overplay Worf wearing red. Worf has worn red before. And those are all my notes, boss. That's it from the whole shebang, and I hope I didn't take up too much time.
You did great. You did great. And excuse me, let me cough for a minute here. I had to clear out. Yeah, well, it just there's so much. It would take too long. We got so many people who want to review it, so we're gonna. I'll just go quickly. This episode, like I said, like a turning point. There's so many great moments. It's a good thing I don't make notes because I would. There's so many things I would want to talk about. I'm glad you handled the notes. If we both did it, it would be, we couldn't have anyone else reviewing, and I want to see what everyone else thinks about it.
Sorry,
it's
boss.
nice to say. No, don't know. I'm glad you do it. I'm too lazy to take notes. I need you. That's what you're here for. That's what first officers are for. Just a terrific episode. It's Trek adventure at its finest.
It is.
I just there's so many great bits. I even really enjoyed some of the interplay between Garrick and Ducat.
Yes.
So it was good to see Worf join the cast.
Well, Andy's got that wild look in his eye, like Robert does. And so when you got Andy and you've got Robert and they're working through, they're projecting through all of that heavy makeup and those prosthetics, and it's just magic. It's just magic. Robert O'Reilly and Andy Robinson. I know he likes to be called Andy, but Andrew Robinson as Liam Garrick.
Right.
Just oh my gosh, so
Great.
good. So good. And when they're on screen together at the same time on one episode, are you kidding me?
Yeah, just what a great cast. They're all fantastic. So yeah, a wonderful episode. What is your your rating for The Way of the Warrior?
Okay, well, I don't, as you guys know, I could be kind of critical sometimes, especially when it strays too far away from Gene Roddenberry, because you all know how much I love Gene Roddenberry. But I'm going to say right now that I don't want to oversell this, but I also want to be sincere and speak from my heart and not hold back. I believe that this potentially is one of the best, I would say definitely in my top 5 of all of DS9. It's just,
Agreed.
I think this is perfect. I think it's beautiful. I think it's well acted, well written. It's such a glorious ride if you can't
Agreed.
be pure science fiction and you can't do that science fiction thing that our wonderful holy trinity of DC Fontana, Gene Kuhn, and Gene L. Kuhn, and Gene Roddenberry, if you can't do that, this is what you do. Oh my gosh, this is just sexy, glorious, fun, exhilarating, pew pew, lots of heart. It's A plus. It's an A plus, and it might be one of the best episodes made on DS9.
I think it's right up there at the very top. I love it. Also, I also give it an A plus. It is absolutely just a top notch Star Trek adventure. And it is at the very top of Deep Space Nine. I absolutely love it. I've watched it many times. And now I will ask our wonderful chat. Oh, first, Max Redstone has a $5 super chat. Let me take care of that. Thank you, Max. Max, you're too kind, buddy. He says, the Quark Garrick root beer dialogue analogy is both characters reaching for their peak. And for a moment with the finest writing, Galron level glory. Yes. Absolutely. Thank you, Max, for that. So thank you, buddy. Now, everyone, please, if you will give your ratings and any words you may have about The Way of the Warrior. Number one will take point and star those while I bring us some Max Redstone entertainment.
Okay, so if you're new here, Max Redstone writes the craziest, most wonderful lyrics, and we're all trying to convince him to publish a book with all of these beautiful limericks that he makes for our show. And further to what the boss was saying earlier, yeah, that's right. You heard the boss right. On this show, we ask your feedback, and not only do we put it up on the marquee, we read it, and then we engage the whole chat with your review. So please feel free to give it a grade. You could do 1 to 10. You could do, out of 5. You can give it a university grade. A lot of people do that here because they know I'm an academic. So they do that. And then just tell us what you think about the show. And it will be our pleasure to throw it up on the marquee and talk about it.
Go for it. While you're doing that, I'm going to go get us some Max Redstone entertainment. Getting a bunch of stuff. Hey, Double C, welcome.
Double C.
Let's see. All right. Okie dokie. Let's see. Oops. All right, everybody. Again, for those who don't know, the great Max Redstone gives us when he is here with us, and our very good friend, longtime friend of the show, is a master lyricist and gives us a lyric every now and then when he's here on each episode of the what we're reviewing, and he has one tonight on these 2 episodes, on the first 2 episodes, and he just pops these off the top of his head like this, and he's just a brilliant writer. So here we go. First limerick of the evening for Way of the Warrior. Here we go. Way of the Warrior by Max Redstone. General Martok brings a large Klingon horde. He says he'll prevent changeling spies from coming aboard. Martok's ruse hits a funk when some blood wine is drunk. Perhaps the general should send some of his men to Betty Ford. Nice. Nice, buddy. I love it. Let's see here. Wow, you got a bunch of those. I'm sure you're getting them all. So while number one is starring those, I'll leave her to do that, and I will start reading because we've got a passel of these things. Let's start with the great J.T. Kirk, who says, A+, a top 10 episode for me. I jumped for joy at the TV as a kid when Worf arrived, Garrick and Dukat, Klingons, the script, Bald Sisko. I could write an Ashpick, but I'll just leave it at simply amazing. Thank you so much to the great
Love you, JT Kirk. What a great review.
Kirk. Absolutely. Mr. Angel says, A+. Sci-fi or not, with the Klingon-Cardassian war coming up to steam, characters are getting depth. The lore expanded in a marvelous way, and I started to eat way more popcorn than was good for me.
Victor Fontaine says, wow, look at all the notes and grades from everyone. Yes, Victor Fontaine, Vic, we really, we're a crew here, and think of it like a ship, and we're here to have a throwdown and just talk Trek. And so you feel free to jump in. We have the people in the chat are some of the most knowledgeable, nicest people in all of Trekdom. So don't be afraid to just jump in and say what you think, and maybe give a grade. And so supportive, everyone is so supportive and so friendly. Feel free, you're more than welcome.
All right. Yep. So let's see if we can burst through some of these real quick, everybody, because we got tons of them. So we're going to try to make some speed here. The Catman, aka Dee Meyer, says, Clobby, I give this episode a solid A. Love this episode a lot. Fave, love Worf going against his kind. Actors brought all characters to life. Agree, Clobby, top notch. Thank you so much, Catman. I appreciate you. The great enigmatic Drop Bear says A+. The exposition at the beginning of the episode suggests the showrunners were seeking to introduce a new audience. Indeed, in some ways, it played like a solid pilot for the series. Hang on. Get to the next one. Other smaller details also suggest something of a reset for the show, like Sisko's haircut. Awesome. Rescoring the intro music, the introduction of Worf, even Siddig changing his name. Good part. A good part indeed. Let's see here. The story itself was textbook world building, very cleverly building on established lore. Improbable cause had the Romulans and Cardassians attempting a first mover play against the Dominion. The Klingons capitalized on the Alliance's defeat, seemingly seeking to establish Klingon dominance in the Alpha Quadrant. The way it tied Klingon warrior culture with paranoia was very clever. Indeed. Almost there. Hang on. It was an example of opportunism driving Empire expansion, were it not for Starfleet's intervention, the Klingons surely had designs on the Romulans, with the Federation probably after that. Yes. In the end, we are left wondering whether all the machinations were a Dominion plot to destabilize the Alpha Quadrant's fragile peace, an entirely enticing foundation for succeeding episodes. It also includes lovely character moments like Worf retransitioning from security to command and Odo asserting his chops as security chief. The Garrick and Dukat interplay was also clever. Yes.
Beautiful
always,
review. Beautiful review.
Great stuff as always, ED. Appreciate you. Let's see here. What's wrong with that? Damn.
And you've just received a wonderful gift from Bubba Doom.
Oh, okay. Bubba Doom, thank you so much for that, for the $5 super chat. I appreciate you. He says, here I sit, my cheeks a flexing, giving birth to another Cardassian. Just kidding. Just something I read once at a Flying J. Thank you so much, Bubba. I appreciate you. You were too kind, my friend. We really appreciate that. JT Skywalker, as in Captain JT Skywalker, says a seasons 4 through 7 gives it an A, sorry. Season 4 through 7 are prime Trek. Love that Garrick and Quark have become special operatives for Team Sisko. Yes, it's great stuff. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Captain James T. Skywalker. Stephen M., the great Kal-El, says A+. This episode was an absolute masterpiece and had me greeting each scene with anticipation and excitement. Seeing Worf's journey, not only to DS9, but also coming to terms of where his loyalties ultimately lie, all while wrestling with the decision of whether or not to leave Starfleet, showed tremendous growth for the character. I really enjoyed his interactions with Sisko. Hang on, let me get you your next one there, buddy. as it's clear that although they are just starting to get to know each other, each clearly respects the other. Cisco also demonstrates his leadership abilities by not backing down while... Hang on, takes me a second to get to the Zoom, folks. Sorry about that. Facing the Klingons, and even more so when making the difficult decision to make the journey to Cardassia Prime space rather than search the decimated Cardassian fleet on the way to look for... there you go. Potential survivors. It's also interesting to note that this episode is the first time in a while that someone remembered that the Defiant wasn't supposed to be cloaked in the Alpha Quadrant. Yeah. That's true. True that. Let's see. Without a Romulan on board, he means. Okay. The ending is bittersweet for the crew of DS9. While they did gain a chief of operations and Worf, the dissolution of the Kittimer Accords and the far-reaching there we go, consequences of that event will definitely be felt in future episodes. A very strong beginning to the 4th season, indeed. Indeed it is. Thank you so much to the great Kal-El.
Nice conversation,
Really appreciate that
Stephen.
review.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Yep. Nicely done, buddy. Absolutely. Classic Comics says, grade A+. When I first heard Worf was joining DS9, I wasn't pleased. I assumed that Worf would essentially take over the show and some of the DS9 cast would be ignored or dismissed. Hang on. Over time, I realized that wasn't the case. One of DS9's most effective storytelling tricks is integrating Worf into the show in a way that felt organic and unintrusive.
I'm just going to interrupt for two wags of a dog's tail. I won't take long. I'm so sorry. I know we're in a hurry, but Apollome's minion is not feeling well, and she has a horrible migraine. Everyone, she has to go early. Everyone, please, can you send a little love to Apollome's minion?
My dear.
We love you, sweetheart. Go and take care of yourself. Please get a cold rag for your eyes and for your head.
Good night,
I'm
Apollome.
sorry, you have a migraine,
Feel
honey.
bad. Be safe
I
out
had
there.
one earlier.
Good night. Good night, dear. I hope you feel better. This is one of the best 2-episode stories, not just on DS9, but all of ST, and was a moment when the series leveled up significantly. I agree with that, absolutely. Let's see here. Giving the audience the view of the Federation from an alien standpoint. Quark, Garrick, and another example of how the series expanded Star Trek storytelling in new ways. Thank you, Classic Comics. Well said, as always, sir. Appreciate that. Let's see. Let me get to the next one. Got a bunch of them here. We'll get to all of them, I promise, everybody. Okay. Wolfie says A+. To be our highest rated overall highest rated episode yet. Holy hell, love the new intro. Shows the new modifying the station and the endless docking activity, making it feel more real. Nebula class. This is our first look at the CGI Defiant.
Love it. Very juicy, Wolfie.
Wolfie bringing it as always. Wolfie's always bringing it. I remember when the episodes aired, it was one of those get a tape in the VCR now moments. There is so much talk. There's so much to talk about here, and most of it great.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. The companion book says they used the Playmates and Ertl model toy Vorchak attack cruisers along with Hallmark bird of prey ornaments for the battle scenes. Wow. That's something. Wow, that's good to know. The fact that the effects team used real-world TNG toys and models of ships means you could own a 1-1 replica of what you saw in this episode. Continuity overload. Yeah, wow.
I love hearing Wolfie happy.
Love it.
If you're new around here, Wolfie is a bit of well, not a bit of. He's a major nerd when it comes to the ships. He knows quite a bit about the ships, and it is very, very informative and lots of fun.
Indeedishness. He says, the writing and acting in this episode eclipses not only some Star Trek episodes, but several of the films. This should have been the Trek film feature instead of Generations. I tell you what, they could have played in theaters, and it would have been very well received. I'm telling you, absolutely. Our wonderful communications officer, Jill, says A+. My most interesting thoughts on this episode involve spoilers, but this was tumultuous. That's okay. We spoiled everything. Spoilers, you never have to worry about spoilers. But this was tumultuous. This was tumultuous way to shake up diplomatic entanglements as the Dominion War ramps up. Root beer. Yep. It goes. We don't even give spoiler warnings on this show, Jill. We're spoiler at all here. We talk about it all here.
Root beer.
Yep. Shooter says A. Twice the length, twice the review. Kira has more hair. Kira has more hair. Cisco has less, so it balances out. Pike City in honor of Christopher Pike. Yes. I hope so. About time the Federation took an external threat seriously. Mm-hmm. Indeedishness. Brilliantly executed reason to bring Worf onto DS9. These episodes are more politics and espionage, but I won't complain when DS9 does it. Mm-hmm. When you do it well, I say. I remember seeing an interview where I believed it was said that TNG over and Voyager in the Delta Quadrant, DS9 could do whatever it wanted in the Alpha Quad. War is inevitable. Let's see. Hang on, Shooter. We got a lot of character development with Worf. Surprising given how well he is established, and yet I wasn't bored watching. I'm glad Julian remembers the cloaking device rules. Cisco shines, mentioning Worf who transfers to command. Damn, DS9 can now hold its own against the fleet, and the Defiant wasn't left out. Ablative armor. Ablative armor upgrades for everyone. Hang on a second. And one more. A dynamic, action-packed finale. It was a season opener. Great cast, serious threat to peace. It may not be traditional Star Trek, but DS9 does what DS9 does, and I love her for it. Thank you, Shooter. Appreciate you. Michael Bacon says A+. Wow. Now that's how you start a season. Problem. I think it means will the rest of the season now be anticlimax after this? Not science fiction, but nice subgenre space war. Why do I get the impression? Let's see. That someone said, God, Generation sucks pretty bad. Let's do a good Trek universe movie.
Right.
Here it is. Yes, indeed. Page 259. The premise was that the Klingons had finally gone nuts, says actor Michael Dorn.
Nice. Oh, good evening, Darth CPO. Welcome.
Hey, Darth. Good to see you, my friend. Thank you for being here. Okay, let's see here. Where was I? Okay, there we go. Well, okay. Page 259 continued. They've been at peace too long, and a bunch of them had gotten together to say, this is not the way we're supposed to be. We should be fighting. Yeah, it kind of works for Klingons, doesn't it? They should be starting fights and stuff. And let's see here. On page 261, Armin Shimmerman discussed that he and Andy Robinson were concerned that the scene was too comic. Andy and I got together and rehearsed the scene the day before it was shot, and we, decided that the only way to play it was to play against what was written. that it should be a major subtext scene. Also on page 261, Ira Bear says it was two aliens giving their individual viewpoints. Hang on a second.
And finally, human beings weren't pieces of crap. We were root beer. So sweet, addictive, complex. And yeah, I really loved it. Really, really loved it. Anyway, sorry.
About what it was about what it was like to live under the Federation. They have serious problems with the whole Federation philosophy, but they want the giant. What's that? Three. The giant. The giant. See on their on. Oh, they want the giant on their side when they're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that, Michael.
Excellent. Thank you, Michael. Just love it.
Thank you so much, Michael Beacom. Appreciate it, sir. Let's see here. Pleasant Valley Picker says A+, great season opener. An episode that brings Worf aboard would certainly be important, but this is so well constructed, it's top tier. Mixing action with politics makes for a riveting episode. Watching as things unravel, beginning with the Cardassian homeworld and leading to the Klingons turning against the Federation in Cardassia is top-notch entertainment. Trek. Mixed in with the main story, many great moments. Martok and Worf confrontation, Worf and Dax battling in the holosuite dimension of the Obsidian Order failing. Gowron's scene with Worf is great as Gowron tries to persuade him with charm to leave the Federation, then turns on him, threatening to dishonor his family again. Does Gowron have honor? I don't think he does. Because one thing I always thought about that scene that Worf fails to mention is that, you know what, dude? Yeah, you did a lot for, because he's showing Worf what he did for him. I got news for you. Without Picard, you're at, and what Worf and Picard did for you, you would not be Chancellor. Just saying. Anyway.
That is 100% true.
And he did, and Worf should have thrown that up in his face since he started it, but anyway, he didn't. So that was my only concern with that scene. But anyway, the Defiant rescuing the Cardassian Council is rousing stuff with a great battle sequence. Seeing Dukat seeking Federation protection is a nice plot point. Klingon landing parties battling on the station while Gowron's fleet attacks is epic. Gowron realizing he has been manipulated by a Dominion plot and breaking off the attack is believable. Thank you, Pleasant Valley. There we go. The great Eric K. the Bronze Ranger says, "Hey, episode had everything to enjoy. Finally, something really good again." Yes, truly was. Absolutely. Mr. Angel says, Klingons and the Betty Ford Clinic. Oh, dear Lord, that's what I want to see.
No, not a review, but that was pretty funny, so I had to have you read it, boss. Sorry about that.
Okay, Cassandra Beacom says A++. Good to see you, Cassandra. The best Worf.
Yeah.
TNG didn't get Worf right. I had issues with the way he handled Worf on there sometimes myself, Cassandra. I see what you're saying. Yeah. The episode had content and balls. There are not enough words to convey all the greatness. Right there with you, Sandra. Sweetheart. Right there with you, Sandra.
Nice. I'd like to welcome Retro Nerd Girl. She is lurking tonight. She says she's loving what she's hearing. Retro Nerd Girl, welcome. Sweetheart, thank you so much for dropping that note for us. And I would like to welcome Lord Raymond Feliciano from King Dolphin TV.
In color. Good to see you there, Raymond. And Retro Nerd Girl, thank you for popping in. It is wonderful to see you, my dear. I hope you were doing well. Hope you're having a wonderful night. And good to see you there, Raymond, buddy. Let's see here. Fanti, Fadsome Outsider. Fanti says B+. Great episode. The only thing missing would have been a scene where Garrick shoots Dukat. Then you see Garrick look again, and you see Dukat going, well, Garrick goes, what? I was temporarily distracted. Well, some people, you just know pleasing some phantoms. Seeing Garrett get his wish fulfillment moment would have gotten an A for me. So you're honestly holding back the A for something that you know they would never do. Come here. There you go. Boom. I just smacked him upside the head.
Shin kicks.
Don't make me come up there. Don't make me turn this stream around, boy.
Boss man, just so
Yes.
you know, you have a wonderful message and a gift to keep the lights on here at this virtual comic book shop from our very own Wolfie.
Oh, Wolfie, thank you so much, buddy. You were too kind for the $10 super chat. You appreciate you, buddy. He says, how about that new Klingon flagship? He sent me some pictures I'll be showing later. Nagvar. Did I say it? Nagvar? I can't say it.
Nagvar.
Nagvar. A slight mod and a reuse of the future Klingon ships from All Good Things. Way bigger than a Vorsha or any bird of prey. You guys are awesome. Rossum right back at you, the great Wolfie, folks.
Maybe
Appreciate
it's
you, buddy.
Navar. I'm not sure, but
Maybe
I want to
Navar.
welcome our good friend Mark Lerseth. The chat has jumped and now I can't find you. But Mark Lerseth, I saw you come in the room, sweetheart. Hello, honey.
Hey, Mark, good to see you there, brother. Good to see you there, buddy. Dave G. Sound says, A. It's an A. That's the deal, folks. It has sci-fi and intrigue, flawlessly adds a member to the group dynamic, and great writing all around. Thank you, Dave G. Sound. Loved it. I'm
Hope
right
your
there
shoulder's doing better.
Hope you're doing
sweetheart.
better. The great Wrencher of the, Vindicator Wrencher of the North, the great Chris Persia says, all I will say is it's an A. Great cast, a cast of guest stars bringing in stellar performances to create an exciting episode.
Love you, buddy. Great conversation as always. I love you, Chris.
The great Raymond Feliciano says A+. Awesome episode. Thank you, Worf. Yes.
Yes.
I knew Raymond would be happy to have Worf there.
Yeah.
Narat Anaxamanda Bear says A. I love a good root beer and beer with IBUs of 70 or more. Also, how awesome would it be if there were a Trek where Worf was captain? I'd watch it. If it were real Trek, not fake stuff they have now. Of course, it would be awful if they attempted to make it. Yeah, if they make it today, it would be trash. If they made it today, it would be, and they might even try. It would be filth because it wouldn't be real Star Trek. But yeah, I'm with you. If they'd done one back then, Narat, it would have been nice.
Narat, I love the idea of the root beer too, and I do have to focus everyone on this word cloying. It's very important for folks to understand the accumulative connotation from this characterization of human beings. I definitely really love this idea that human beings are so romantic, so sweet, so hopeful, and so complex as to annoy. I just love that they use that Quark uses that word cloying. And you know what? I wish Star Trek always referred to human beings as root beer. So I loved it too, Nura. Thank you.
All righty. Well, here we go. Let's see. And our final review of this episode of the evening, because we got to make some time here, is the caboose from our great chief engineer, Mark T. with the C. Good to see you, buddy. I hope you're having a great night. A+, he says, no time to write an epic, but we've got Worf, a tough little ship, Klingons in a great space battle. Loved to see the D7 in action too. Yeah, it was cool to see the D7. I love that ship. All around great episode, from the action to moral dilemmas for Worf, DS9 crew, and Starfleet. One of the best episodes so far. Agreed, buddy, and we'll see you later. All right, everyone, we're going to make some tracks here because we got, 3 more to go. And it's time for us to hit our next episode. Are we ready? We're all ready?
We ready.
Our next episode, folks, is The Visitor.
It is. The Visitor is season 4, episode 2. I'm going to say that again. It is episode 2. But please notice, it is prod code 476. So we went from 401 to 476. So we're moving stuff around. We're really making an effort. Not we. I'm just, saying we. But they are really moving things around to improve performance. And we all watched this for the very first time on October 9th, 1995. Turning to Wikipedia for the plot, which I'm going to cold read. Let's hope they did a good job writing it. The elderly Jake Sisko, played by Tony Todd, is visited by Melanie, Rachel Robinson, an aspiring writer who is curious to learn why Jake gave up writing. Jake tells her his story, revealed as flashbacks in the episode. When Jake was 18, his father, Captain Benjamin Sisko, took him on the USS Defiant to observe an inversion of the Bajoran wormhole. The inversion caused a malfunction in the Defiant's warp drive. A bolt of energy strikes Benjamin, causing him to vanish into subspace. Believing him dead, Jake and the crew of Deep Space Nine mourn him, but a few months later, Jake catches sight of his father for a brief moment. A year after the incident, Benjamin appears again, but the crew is unable to return him to the normal flow of time. When the Klingon Empire assumes control of Deep Space Nine, Jake returns to Earth. He eventually achieves success as an author, marries, and settles down. When his father appears again, Jake introduces him to his wife and shows him the books that he's published. He apologizes for moving on with his life instead of attempting to save his father. But Benjamin is proud of his son's accomplishments. When Benjamin appears again, Jake decides to help him. He returns to school to study subspace mechanics, abandoning his writing career and marriage. Decades later, the wormhole is to undergo another inversion, and Jake attempts to recreate the accident on the Defiant. The attempt briefly sends him into subspace with his father. During this visit, quote unquote, Benjamin is disappointed that Jake has abandoned his writing and marriage in order to save him, and begs him to return to his true passion and live out his life for his own sake. Jake returns without his father and tries to determine what went wrong with the rescue attempt, but eventually he honors his father's request to rebuild his life by returning to writing. On the night of Melanie's visit, Jake knows his father will appear again. He has injected himself with a lethal hypospray dose, believing that by dying, when his father is present, Jake will allow him to return to a time before the warp core incident. The next morning, Benjamin appears exactly as expected, and Jake tells him that his death will give them both a second chance. Jake dies in his father's arms. Benjamin finds himself back on the Defiant and dodges the energy discharge. Confused, young Jake asks what happened. Benjamin tearfully responds, "I guess we were just lucky this time." And that is all the collective internet has to say about The Visitor. Throwing it back over to the boss, Captain, my captain. Please tell me what you thought of this episode. And Midnight's Oblivion walks through the door. Hail, hail, hail!
Midnight's Oblivion, hello, and Captain Infinity and beyond, hello.
Captain Infinity and beyond!
It's actually almost fortuitous that he's here, the Master of Time, because he's not going to be happy with me. I love this episode, maybe even more than the episode we just talked about.
Okay.
I think this episode is beautiful beyond belief. Scogli Jotun, good to see you. I think this episode
Hello.
is almost maybe the city on the edge of forever of DS9. I don't care if nothing. If it transcends making any kind of a sense, because you could probably make all kinds of arguments against it or whatever. I found it to be beautiful science fiction, fantasy, call it what you want. Just as City on the Edge of Forever doesn't have to explain anything to be beautiful and a brilliant story, I found this one just too touching. It just as a father, it grabs a hold of me in ways I can't even explain. And so I dearly, dearly love this story. And, I'm probably maybe in the minority on that one, but it's beautiful. And it kills me every time. I can't watch it without getting just totally just wrecked every time.
Choked up. Big
time. Yeah. I mean, physically, it affects me. That's how much this episode gets to me. It's just good. Very emotional.
Well, it was nominated for a Hugo Award. It lost to Babylon 5, but I mean, it was nominated for a Hugo Award, right? Tony Todd brings a very
Tony Todd. That's another thing. Tony Todd is magnificent. The guy's always great. This episode is just amazing.
Yep. Yeah, he is truly amazing.
Right. Dave G, that's right. It doesn't have to be a father to get you. It's just as a human being. It is gut-wrenching. It is in the best of ways. That's what's just as Star Trek. We just got through talking about how Star Trek can be just a magnificent slam-bang adventure with a lot of heart and texture to it, the way of the Warrior is. This one has that Star Trek, not only creativity. It tells a way. Does it cheat a little bit and become a little bit fantasy? Maybe, but Star Trek can do that, and if it works, it works as wonderful drama. Star Trek can tell a story like this that no show can, or few shows can. You can't tell the story without having the premise of a Star Trek or something like that. And when you tell that story about, how else do you tell the story about what Jake Sisko goes through? It's just, this story's beautiful, and it just, I just really, really affects me every time I see it.
Well, that's good. That's wonderful. And when Star Trek has a big impact, it's very good. Mr. Angel says, unfortunately, I must leave and start prepping.
Oh, be good, Mr. Angel.
I have to make breakfast for 10 people, moving a crew for a friend, and start serving before they rip my head off with their grumpy morning heads. Chef, you are our ship's chef. Please go ahead and go and fulfill your duty. Haha, I said duty.
Masters. Take care, sir. Masters Mexico is here.
Nice to see you. Long time no see, friend.
Good to see you, my friend. Thank you for being here, MMM. So, anyway, notes? You want to go with notes and we'll just get going, or what?
Sure. This was nominated for a Hugo Award. It lost to Babylon 5. Sisko phasing in and out of subspace to different locations after phasing out on the Defiant creates a lot of distracting questions for science fiction fans. Mentioning the link later isn't a sufficient remedy for me. The father and son story is touching, sincere, well acted, and heartbreaking. Jake published a volume of short stories to generally positive reviews. Hey, remember when people read short stories?
Short stories in the 24th century.
Yeah, and publishers published them. And that's, of course, a joke about how the Americans are the last place, it appears, the last place where these stories are safe. I love Americans for that. The science is just too dubious for me. This is science fantasy on maximum. And it's beautiful, but it's a little much for me. It's truly moving and well acted, but I do not feel that the performances, which are beyond outstanding, especially for television, this is very much the quality of acting you would expect in a film. For me, it just can't rescue this. Ben going off to a subspace and being there. Oh, the woke breaker just walked through the door. Yeah, the first thing the first thing I start thinking of is, when Q pulled Picard into that same white space, and then you sort of, where am I? Are you in heaven? You're wondering how long he's going to stay in subspace. Then you think about how, this happened to Captain Kirk, and how the signal can be lost. And so the fact that this goes on for decades is too ridiculous for me. And also the fact that instead of being tethered to the Defiant, he's tethered to Jake. And I know that that's because they share the charge, but then why can they bring back Jake, and why didn't Jake go to subspace as well? So I know that this is a beloved episode of Deep Space Nine. It regularly gets like 9 out of 10 reviews, and people love it, but it just does not work for me. I do not think that the amazing performances given in this episode can save the ridiculous science. So you and I are usually of one mind, but not this time, boss.
I don't think it's ridiculous science at all. I mean, it's maybe a stretch. I don't think it's ridiculous, but I don't care either. If something can be that moving and touching, I'm willing to go for it, because again, science doesn't know everything. Science speculates, and I'm fine with it on a fictional, as it works as a fictional story. I have no problem with it, but I'm not demanding on the science anyway, because again, good thing I'm not a scientist. I just adored everything about the episode, and of course, I can't watch it often because it beats the hell out of me emotionally. But I love the fact that you can't tell this story any other way but through a science fiction story, a show that does occasionally, and this ain't the first time Star Trek has used science fantasy. It does it all the time.
Yeah, it does.
It's been guilty of it on even the original series. So if the episode and the story is intriguing and great entertainment, I don't care if it screws around with the science. I never have cared about that thing. I just appreciate it when they do have the ones that are more, the episodes that are more, that more recognize science and respect science the most. I always give them a lot of credit for that. That are more grounded in science. But when it's one episode is science fiction or even science fantasy, if it's entertaining and effective as art, I love it, and I just excuse it. None of that matters to me, and I love it.
I gotcha.
That's just me. Bubba Doom said, for $20, oh, you were too kind. Bubba Doom, thank you so much. You're very generous. Thank you. He said, I said earlier I won't watch this one with anyone. Cisco and Jake remind me of my dad and me. I ugly cry. I'm old fashioned about that stuff. Todd based his performance on a loved one, old Jake. He just lost. Oh my goodness, I did not know that. He is brilliant in this episode. Good. Tony Todd's always great. I mean, but I absolutely thought he was just outstanding in this episode. Bubba Doom for another one. Thank you so much. Somebody said I'd give anything to be able to talk to my old man. I mean, it kills me. I watch it, and again, I don't mind. Star Trek can be other things than science fiction. It's a science fiction show, but it cheats and goes into science. If you want to call it science fantasy, I really don't see it. I mean, but I guess it is. Then it doesn't matter if a show is that good, that's entertaining for me. It's just like, again, Sitting on the Edge of Forever. I'm supposed to believe this construct can send people anywhere in time and space just like that. I buy it into it when I'm watching Doctor Who with the TARDIS, and although Doctor Who does a lot of science fantasy stuff too, I can accept it in great Star Trek if it's great drama. That's why I accept Sitting on the Edge of Forever, and I never need the Guardian of Forever explained to me. So I love it. But again, this cool. Like I said, I just if I'm entertained and it speaks to me, that's what's, because ultimately these shows are entertainment.
They are.
And art in a sense too. So anyway, oh man, this show kills me. Let's get off of this episode. So let's start. Everyone, what is you give your rating, number one, and I'll give mine, and then
did you get Bubba Doom's second chat?
I did.
Oh, you did? Okay, good. Yeah.
Thank you, Bubba. So give your rating, I'll give mine, and then we'll get on with our reviews.
Okay, so the entire episode, I'm thinking that it could be the wormhole aliens testing Cisco, and I don't understand why Jake also isn't pulled into subspace. It looks too much like Q Continuum or wormhole aliens. The fact that he's tethered to him, I think, is ridiculous. And I don't buy it. And I spend the entire time as a person who reads science fiction going, okay, well, this isn't done very well. However, the performances are outstanding. I mean, really outstanding. I cannot adequately express in words how great the performances are. But for me, I just spent the entire time going, okay, so why didn't Jake go with him? Okay, so why did they bring Jake back but not him? But he went to the same place as Cisco, like both Ciscos, Jake and Benjamin, they're in that subspace place, and yet Jadzia can bring them back. It's ridiculous. So I respect your opinion immensely. You already know that, but for me, it's a C+.
Logic means nothing to me with this. I will quote Sarek and proudly and say, "Forgive me, Tilar, but my logic is uncertain where my son is concerned." And I love this episode. I give it an A+++. It's might be my favorite episode of the whole series. It's I will suffer the consequences. Everyone, please now give your review. Oh, there's Midnight did one as well. So, and I will bring us some Max Redstone entertainment that cheer me up after even thinking about this episode, because it's brutal. I was sitting watching it the other night, and my son, who doesn't really watch much stuff with me, he at least watched the show with me before he likes it, and he's watched Trek and all that kind of stuff, but he's always doing his own thing. He walks through and sees him watching that one and stops, and we watch it together. It's just he loves the episode. It messes him up, and he's a monster. So anyway, he's not a monster, but I'm just kidding. He's a hard ass. Let's put it like that. So, who wants some Max Redstone entertainment?
Before we get to Max, I'm sorry, I just have to interject very quickly because one of our favorite people, the Catman, aka Dee Dee Myers, and his lovely wife, they have to go. He says, Clubby,
Oh.
have to go to bed, King Day. So I went ahead and gave my rating and thoughts. Good night, all.
All right, buddy.
Good night,
Thank you so
sweetheart.
much. You all
Good
have
night,
a
honey.
great night. We appreciate you being here. Here we go. Let's see here. So, everyone, the great master of the limerick has a limerick for us on the visitor. And here we go. It is: wormholes and warp cores take the captain away. He's not gone, but on a tether. To his son he will sway. And with Jake's dying breath, he brings his dad back from death. I suppose it's an inverted Groundhog Day. Nice. Oh, my goodness, Max. Top notch, buddy, as always. Love it. Oh, my goodness. You the man, son. You the man. All right, let's see here. Got some starred reviews from everybody. Oh, before that, Michael became the mission earlier. He said, actually, Hippocratic Oath is 475, whereas Visitor is 76. Well, I got him from just an episode guy. We don't really pay him a whole lot of. Back when we had the 350, 60, whatever book, those other books, it was easier to go in the proper order. Now we're just kind of just going by. I guess that's what an air date order or something we've been using that I've been getting from the streaming and all that stuff, and from the online. All the online things I've seen had Visitor next. So sorry about that. I don't have that book there, Michael. But thank you. I appreciate you, buddy. Midnight's Oblivion says, it is an A for me. Thank you, Midnight's Oblivion. And it's good to see you here. Victor Fontaine says, I'm a little more with R.M. Briggs on this one. The stretching of the science fiction into the science fantasy pulled me somewhat out of the emotional aspect of the episode. No rating, but he talked about the episode. So there you go. Midnight's Oblivion liked it so much, he gave it 2 A's. Just kidding. Thank you, Midnight's Oblivion. Let's see here. Oh, Bubba Doom, thank you so much. That's rare when I say anything well, but I'll take it anyway because I get in trouble when I don't take compliments. Kal-El, Stephen M. says, A+. This was a wonderful episode with excellent performances by all those involved. From the initial shock at Ben Sisko's disappearance to dealing with the loss as well as lifelong. Hang on a second. Hang on, Stephen. Journey to try and get him back. Jake's character's development in this episode is really top notch. Seeing how the crew rallied around and supported Jake during the grieving process. Hang on. Where's number? Hang on, I gotta get your number. I'm looking for your number 3. There we go. As well as the several instances of indulging Jake over the years in his attempt to retrieve his father, showed how caring and supportive his friends, who became like a family to him, really were. Sorry. The most poignant scene in this episode has to be where Jake takes what most would consider to be an extreme measure in order to retrieve his father and give back to his younger self. The father he so desperately needed back then, and seeing Ben break down once he realizes what Jake had done was one of the most heart-wrenching scenes in the series. Although more soap, always leaves it leaves it in the middle of a sentence there, but it's like a soap opera in itself, in a sense. Operatic in nature than pure sci-fi. This episode hits all the right notes and tells an excellent story with a satisfying conclusion. Yeah, I mean, Steven is kind of almost like a fairy tale. It's like Trek, in a sense. And I mean that in a good way. Let's see here. All right, okay, so next up is hang on. Fanty Outsider Says B, good story about fathers and sons, but this was more suited to the Hallmark Channel. Dude, don't even be ridiculous. Waiting to get actual Trek back. Fanty, you need to go take a nap, dude. You're messed up. Trek does crap like that all the time. Usually just doesn't do it well. So usually when it goes on that kind of stuff, they don't do it well. Enigmatic drop bear. B, what an incredible whiplash-inducing change of pace from the previous episode. It's reminiscent of TNG's Inner Light tugging at as it does on the heartstrings. It is successful in this regard in no small measure because it builds on the wonderful father and son relationship shared between Ben and Jake. Hang on. I generally do not like Star Trek stories employing time travel tropes, and this one is no exception, which is why I have marked it down. Hang on. Aside from my feelings on those aspects of the story, it is a beautiful piece of storytelling, and the direction is close to perfect. All right. Yes, I hear you there. I'm kind of the same way about time travel. When I think of the time travel things I love in Star Trek, other than this one and Sitting Edge Forever, I kind of give a pass to the voyage home a little bit. For the most part, I don't like it either. Oh, well, Trials and Tribulations. I love that one. And that's a ridiculous time travel, to be honest. Classic Comics says A+. One of the few DS9 episodes that really grabbed me emotionally. Tony Todd and Avery Brooks both give wonderful performances. Agreed. Another example of DS9 coming into its own as a series and producing episodes that can compare with the best episodes in Star Trek. Thank you, Classic Comics. Appreciate you. Captain James T. Skywalker says, A, I was raised without a father at home, divorce. This is a tearjerker for me. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you so much. I understand that for sure. Bubba Doom 1 says A+. Thank you, Bubba Doom. Appreciate you. JT Kirk says, what? A C+, a superbly acted, gloriously written character episode is a car parked at a railroad crossing while the absurdity of the non-science of the subspace stuff is a freight train rapidly bearing down. Wow.
JT Kirk!
Skogli. Wow, JT Kirk is a man without a heart, just like Raquel. She's a man without a heart. Just kidding. So, nope, you're not allowed to say sorry. That's an order. And you know I was teasing you. Good God. I'm emotional here. I can't help it. Scopely says B. Thank you for that. Let's see here. Shooter says A+. This episode is such a beautiful story. We will ignore that it is time travel-ish. Yeah, I had to. The episode just feels different to the rest of DS9, but it still fits in with the series. Let's see here. Oh, sorry about that. Let me find it. Oh, there we go. Okay. Jake telling this story to the aspiring writer is bittersweet. There is regret in Jake, but I feel it is in part to the things he lost, as well as hindsight, knowing how now to rescue his father. Oh yeah, sure, absolutely. The only thing I dislike is the vision of the future. 3D controls, Morns and such. Oh, Morns bar. When a story predicts little things like that, don't happen. It feels cheap and lessens the story. Yeah, but they were in the future, so I guess they had to make it up, and they knew that they erased it all anyway. Where was I? Good, that was Bubba Doom also said A+. I'm choked up just talking about it. Well, I'm not going to say I am. I'm not going to say it anyway. You hear me not saying it right now. Pleasant Valley Pecker says A+. 180 degree shift, excuse me. From action last episode to individual drama, the warp car accident changing the course of Jake's life is believable as he spends many years trying to bring his father back. Let's see. I love the setup with the young hopeful to be writer devotee of Jake's work, giving him to tell his story, giving a platform to tell his story. It's heartwarming and believable. It's a fair cop. Tony Todd is his usual excellent self. He's convincing playing Jake at each stage of his life. I thought the tethering aspect was a metaphor about how unbreakable family connections can be. Mm-hmm. The connection they have maybe fantasy, maybe more fantasy than science, but once again, DS9 makes it work. The ending with old Jake making a sacrifice, ending his life to bring back Cisco's life to that moment tears me up every time. I sobbed repeatedly watching this today, and I'm doing it now. I love the heart in this episode. I can't condemn you there, buddy. I'm with you there. Totally with you. Let's see here. Hang on. Did I already get Shooter? I think I got Shooter. Pretty sure I got Shooter. Okay, yeah, I got that. All right. So, Neurotonax Amanda Bear says, A, I didn't necessarily enjoy this episode. We gave it an A, though? But I did like it. A's high, buddy. I think I learned some things about time, space, and emotions from it. Well, that's a fair cop. I just thought, if you didn't enjoy it, but you give it an A, I don't know, man. But hey, that's your rating, so that's on you, buddy. That's cool. Just questioning. A plus says Lord Raven Feliciano. Excuse me. Tony Todd has well-written drama, and it touches the heartstrings. Fine acting and sad conclusion. Indeed, Raymond. Thank you so much. Eric K, the Great Bronze Wrencher, says B plus. Pulls the heartstrings. This makes you wonder why Tony Todd was not an A-list actor in movies. He was always good. Not big on the Candyman thing myself, but a lot of people like him in that. I agree with both of you guys and Pleasant Valley Picker. I give it a 3.9. It's a hard episode to rate because of the emotional ties that they try to make you feel. Yeah, it's manipulative as hell. No question about that. Wolfie says A plus. This episode is deep. Tony Todd acts so much like Jake here. It's incredible to watch. I love the telling of the story about the stories to the fledgling writer. The score for this has got to be one of the more memorable individual scores for an episode since TOS. Captain Nog, that was kind of pulling starships out of mothballs with less pre-chewed food. AGT future uniform mini continuity. I knew you'd be into that stuff. I love the sci-fi idea that Jake would have to dedicate an entire lifetime of learning to learn how to remedy this situation. Yeah, that's a good part. Dave G. Sound says, A, it was a great Twilight Zone episode, entirely suspending the science for storytelling. Yeah, very top tier acting. Not really about Star Trek at all. Yeah, true enough. But about the loyalty and bond between Jake and Ben. Star Trek bends its own rules sometimes, I guess, and and again, you can't tell that story on a normal drama show. Dorado Max Vandenberg says also, if they made a modern movie just like this, it would be considered to deserve an Oscar. Yeah, well, and they have made some things considerably similar. Our wonderful friend Anti-Derivative Jill, chief of communication, says A, it's heart-wrenching every time Ben shows up for Jake just before disappearing again, and maybe getting trapped in subspace is bonkers, but the drama works so well. More unbelievable than the science is that Bajor would team up with the Cardassians, or the Federation would give the station to the Klingons. Yeah, that was... Oh, they figured they had a disposable timeline to say whatever the hell they wanted. Midnight's Oblivion. I also agree with R.M. Briggs, though it's not pure sci-fi. No one. I don't think anyone thinks it's pure sci-fi. I think we all agree on that. Michael Beacom says B plus. Set phasers for sentiment fire. Sometimes you just have to look at the logical entanglements and say heck with them. When it is not in your face and the end result works as a touching story. Yeah, it's kind of me on that one. When Jake waits for Kirk to emerge from the Tholian interchange, when Jake waits for Kirk, let's see what you said there. Interchange for Cisco to emerge from subspace. It may not have been science, but it certainly was effective. Trivia, page 269, the book. I don't want to know cracks about the book. It says the girl reporter was played by Andy Robinson's daughter. Oh, really? I did not know that. Did you know that, number one? Oh.
I did not know that,
Wow.
but because it's in that vetted text, you can believe it.
There you go. Yeah. Bear also said the audience reaction surprised them. And page 270, this episode is frequently voted the best Trek episode of all Treks and stuff. Originally, the story was supposed to follow Cisco as he dropped in on Jake as years go by, but as he wrote it, Michael Taylor switched to Jake as the person left behind. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Michael, the great Michael Beacom, folks. Appreciate you. Cassandra Beacom, the better half, says B. Time traveling, but done well. Dumbledore is in subspace. The groupie writer is either a time cop, or a future eBay seller. I am a sci-fi widow. Yeah, she might be a time agent, or from Doctor Who, or the Temporal Investigations, or one of those time agents from on Voyager or whatever. Remember? Victor Fontaine says, yeah, and then got a drop there. It comes with being an electrical engineer for 30 years. Need the science in my science fiction to be solid.
Okay, so I know that's not a rating, but that's
not a rating.
Vic talking a bit about himself. And I always like to point out what everyone's area of expertise is. And so Vic is an electrical engineer, which is really great. And I look forward to hearing from him on those types of issues. My late father-in-law, he passed away, unfortunately. He was also an electrical engineer. So I thought that it was cool that since Vic is new here, that everybody, that I draw attention to the fact that Vic is cool. He's an electrical engineer.
I see what you're saying, Vic. But you know what? I don't need my Star Trek to be perfectly following its own rules, because if I did, there are a lot of episodes of even original Trek I couldn't like if I held it to that standard. It hits me in the guts and it tells me a great story. And it's even in Trek, if it cheats, it colors outside the line sometimes. I don't mind so much, but everyone has their own standards and the way they hold it. So, so it's not a biggie. And I appreciate that. You've got a drop bear is back. He says, at Michael Beacom, at Victor Von Ding, yeah, I struggle when I can't find a way to make the science make some sort of sense. Takes me out of the story. I'm glad it doesn't take me out, but I see what you're saying. The thing is, I also go at the end of the day, remember, even these guys are speculating about stuff. They don't know, there were times when some sciences didn't seem possible either. Chris Persia, the great Vindicator Wrench of the North says, A, Tony Todd brings a heartfelt performance showcasing Son's love for his family. Simply transcendental, even making my allergies act up. This was my mom's favorite episode, and a special one for me. I think he means. Yep, man. I said Cardinal Sin. Oh, thank you so much for the 99 super sticker. Thank you, Cardinal Sin. Good to see you there, brother. I hope you're doing well, Cardi. Good to see you. I hope you're having a great night. Thank you so much.
Please follow
buddy.
Gil on Twitter and on YouTube.
Yes, please. And our final review of The Visitor is from an engineer also, and who likes science fiction as well. Says A+. The Brigadoon science might be wonky, but this is a really emotional and hard-hitting drama. Unfortunately, I appreciate the meaning of the episode a lot more now as an adult. It shows the paths that one can take in life, how one pivotal event can lead to cascading effects years later. And I just want to say something else about Star Trek. Star Trek is a science fiction show, It's also a philosophy show, and this show is a lot about philosophy and relationships. I mean, it is also, you don't always have to be perfect science fiction to be Star Trek. Star Trek can get into your mind and into your heart, into your gut, and tear it to pieces and tell you and make you feel things as well. And Star Trek is not just science fiction. It's able to do those things as well. That's why I love it so much. It is science fiction, but it can break its rules. And that's what I think this episode does do that. But I think if you do it, though, because there were a lot of times it did it so poorly on The Next Generation. When you do it well, I'm going to give it credit. I don't blame Jake for trying to rescue his dad. I would do the same. Any less would have diminished the strong ties they have as father and son. Wouldn't we all want to have a second chance to be with a loved one once we have lost, despite the sacrifices required? I could absolutely relate to that, buddy. Absolutely. And so, wow. I think we got all that one done. Are we ready to move on to the next one? So I can stop crying?
We are.
All right, everybody. Our next one. Who's ready for the next episode? Our next episode is Hippopotamus. Hippocratic Oath.
Hippocratic Oath.
Hippocratic Oath.
It is. It's season 4, episode 3. And you got another gift from Cardi.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Cardi. Candyman says he's talking some Tony Todd there. So yeah, there you go. Shout out. Thank you. I can't say it y'all have to say it 5 times. Don't say it 2 more times. I think it's 5 times a Candyman. I don't know if you know. I don't know if you've seen that. Have you seen that?
No.
No way. You should ever be watching that. I don't want you watching.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Captain Finity, I like that point. That's it. Star Trek needs to relax and come to peace with sometimes being science fantasy, and usually a good one at that. When it is good, it's good. When it's good, it's good. That's what I say. Okay. Hippocratic Oath.
Yeah, it's season 4, episode 3, and it is at least out in the broader space of Canada and the United States. It's listed as prod code 475. If Michael Beacom would like to provide an original source correction to that, please follow that. We all watched this for the very first time on October 16th, 1995. So please turn to Wikipedia, where I will be reading a cold read of the plot provided by multiple people all over the great internet. Miles O'Brien and Julian Bashir crash land their runabout on a planet that is home to several rogue Jemadar. Their leader, Goran Agar, takes the two captive and asks Bashir to help cure his men of their addiction to Ketracel White, the drug that makes them loyal to the founders of the Dominion. Goran Agar has not needed the drug since he was stranded on the planet 4 years prior. Well, he says 3, and then they say 4, but whatever. He has concluded that there must be some substance on the planet that cured him of his addiction. Bashir and O'Brien devise a plan to escape, but O'Brien's makeshift weapon is discovered. However, Bashir notes that Goran Agar shows unusual mercy, and his conversations seem to indicate independence of thought and character. He decides he wants to aid Goran Agar and his men, but O'Brien is convinced the Jemadar will always be brutal killers, regardless of whether they are dependent on the drug or not. Bashir eventually orders O'Brien to help him develop a cure by retrieving a piece of equipment from the runabout. At the runabout, O'Brien escapes his guard. Meanwhile, Bashir concludes that there is nothing special about the planet that cured Goran Agar of his addiction. Though through some biological fluke, he was never addicted in the first place. O'Brien finds Bashir, and when Bashir refuses to leave with him, O'Brien sabotages his work. Goran Agar confronts them, but his merciful ways have lost him to the loyalty of his men. And with no hope for a cure, he finds he has no reason to kill O'Brien and Bashir. He leads them to the runabout and asks O'Brien, a former soldier, to explain to Bashir why he cannot abandon his men, even if they would kill him if he stayed. On their way back to Deep Space Nine, O'Brien tries to explain to Bashir that all his efforts were intended to save him. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Commander Worf acclimates to living on DS9 and no longer being chief of security. He finds Quark dealing with a smuggler and, frustrated by Constable Odo's apparent refusal to arrest the two, confronts them himself. Odo appears and explains to Worf that he wanted the deal to go ahead so that he could track the smuggler and break down the entire smuggling ring. But Worf's interference has made that impossible. Captain Sisko explains to Worf that life on Deep Space Nine has many gray areas that will take some getting used to. And that is all the collective internet has to say about Hippocratic Oath. So tell me, Captain, as I throw it over to you, what did you think of this episode?
Well, first of all, I want to tell Michael Beacom, oh, dude, I never doubted you for a minute. I believe you. I just screwed up. I'm sorry. Got him backwards because I was going by everything I saw on the internet. I don't have that book, buddy. But you don't have to prove it to me, man. I believe you. You know that. You should know that. You never have to prove anything to me, buddy, but thank you. I just, I oopsied. So there we go, right? But I believe it. Even watching the episode, you can kind of feel that in a sense that, well, you know, Worf's still getting used to stuff. It's well, I think kind of, it's almost like we're back into the third season in the sense we're back with dealing with some of the A plot, B plot type stuff. Neither of them are really super compelling for me, but it's for groundwork. This is all groundwork stuff for the future. It's interesting drama, but it's groundwork stuff for the future. I think it was an interesting conflict between Bashir and O'Brien. I found that stuff pretty good, and I kind of like the stuff between. In other words, I think it's an entertaining episode for character conflict, and that's all. Some of the stuff with the Jemadar and that Jemadar character, it was pretty interesting. Again, it's all groundwork. It's kind of, I can't sit here and turn backflips like I did over the past 2 episodes. I can just say that it's fairly entertaining. What's Cardinal Sin says, thank you for the $9.99 super chat. Cardinal Sin says, Michael Beacom was wrong watching 1973. That is not true. I have actually gone back in time. Sorry, Captain Infinity. And checked that just to make sure. Right now, when you said that, I just went back a couple of weeks in 1973 following Michael Beacom around. And turns out he was not wrong, even in 1973. Sorry, Cardi. Sorry to dispute you. Thank you, Max. Appreciate that. So I found it again. I think the most interesting thing to me was some of the conflict at the end there between Bashir and O'Brien. Who was right? Who was wrong? Bashir was being very Federation. He was being very Star Trek. He wanted to. I think he also had it was probably not a bad idea to try to help this one Jemadar. On the other hand, O'Brien had a good point too. What if you help the one? They're all still a bunch of savage soldiers, killers that want to destroy us. So they left that conflict kind of open to both sides. I found that to be interesting, and I kind of like the stuff between Worf and Odo. So all in all, entertaining character filler episode, and that's about all I really have for it. Notes?
So this is what I wrote down. Max has said that he is officially lurking now, and he sends his love to all. We love you too, Maximum Redstone.
All right, Max, appreciate that, buddy. Thank you.
And he says he sent you 2 more. Okay, this is what I wrote down while watching the episode. Yep. And I suppose I should mention that I have been rewatching the episode starting. I've been rewatching Star Trek 66 to 05 ever since it was possible, starting on January 1st. So I've rewatched these episodes several times.
Thank you, Lisa. Well, appreciate the work.
That's
nice
great,
words.
Lisa.
Very kind of you, Lisa. Thank you. I hope you anytime. Go ahead.
So here's what I wrote down. Shut up, Keiko. Yeah, I wrote that down. Shut up, Keiko.
Was Keiko in this episode? I didn't even see her.
Yeah, Keiko was in this episode. In the opening scene, the guys are talking about how O'Brien is, trying to find ways to appease her because she, whatever. Shut up, Keiko.
She's not even in it.
Just shut up, Keiko.
I love that you're going after Keiko. She's not even in the episode.
But she is, because they talk about like
They talk about her, yeah.
how she is admonishing her husband for like trying to like because he put a little workshop in his room because he's a workaholic. He's like he has fallen into his work and he's dedicated to his work because his wife and daughter are going to be living away from him for a full year. Like, shut up, Keiko. Anyway, he has a little office in his room for when you're not there.
Oh shit!
Shut up.
Oh,
okay, anyway,
I love it.
It's nice to see Worf adjusting to his department. This is the kind of continuity that is needed and appreciated. But unfortunately, they take this too far, and they do it in order to stretch out the B plot, and it becomes conduct unbecoming, and it's definitely not something Worf is up to. He already learned his lesson when he got into trouble with Data. This is a decent should I help my enemy episode. And should I help my enemy is a pretty big story or theme in science fiction. The Jemadar isn't super interesting to me, and this angle is well worn. There obviously is an admission amongst everyone that the Jemadar are the next gen Borg. So it's just a way for them to insert this nearly insurmountable foe. So this is just not something that really appeals to me. I did write in my closing comment in my notes, this is good stuff, but it wears on multiple rewatches. Oh, Max sent you a gift.
Thank you, Max, for the $2 super chat. You're too kind, buddy. I hope you feel better. One more comment. Get Keiko Ketracel White. Stat!
Yeah.
Oh, Miles. Don't make me Miles you.
Oh, my goodness. Just shut up, Keiko. Like, the husband that you abandoned and you took your daughter and went to go live on on another planet. Your husband put a little workshop in his room. That doesn't mean that he's trying to live as a bachelor and he wants out of your marriage. Whomever wrote that into this script, I want, you know what? You need to be rovered. Like, I wouldn't even, I don't even want to put you in the agony booth. You should be fully rovered. Yeah, it is Enemy Mine, right? Cardi?
Enemy Mine.
Anyway, and that's all I have in my notes, boss.
The enemy being Keiko.
Yeah, shut up, Keiko.
That's fantastic. I love it.
Like, the guy started cheating on her. He put a little work table in his room, and they make an entire scene out of explaining how Miles is betraying his marriage, or Keiko believes that Miles is betraying his marriage. And she lives on another planet.
Yep, you're the one that left. No, I'm with you there. She's ridiculous.
Shut up, Keiko.
And it's a shame they did that to fine, lovely actress. They should have written this character better. Anyway,
yeah, and she's beautiful. And Rosalind Chow, I think she's gorgeous.
Oh, I love her.
And, yeah, and what they did to her character.
I love your reviews on that. Oh, shite. Okay, well, we'll make quick work of this one then. I thought it was just sort of, it was some interesting stuff. I did think it was the idea, the concept of a Jemadar, wanting to be more. I mean, that was something that probably should have been explored more. It was pretty interesting. I mean, again, I thought this was compelling enough drama, decent enough character interaction stuff and conflict, and all fine. It's just, as an episode, it goes. It's okay, then it ends, and you don't really think about it much again after that. It's just one of those for me. So, what is your rating of Hippocratic Oath?
Okay, I've already seen all this crap with the Borg. Let's write something new now. Stop being lazy. C+. And shut up, Keiko.
C+. Yeah, I'm going to go with a C+ as well. I was going to give us, it's nothing bad or anything. And some of the stuff I did like some of the stuff between Worf and Odo, I'll say, because again, they're just such terrific characters together, and when they butt heads a little bit, it's kind of entertaining. And I can see how I can also understand. I thought it was not a bad idea that Worf needed to get get kind of schooled on what goes on Deep Space Nine as opposed to what goes on a starship. So I can get that. That's the whole thing. I can buy into Worf not really understanding that and having it taught to him. I have no problem with that. So all in all, just something that's an okay. Again, I hate the word filler, but that's kind of a criticism when you do that. But there you go. Everyone, please
shut up, Keiko. And Worf
Keiko.
Isn't Karen. We have Karen Worf, and we have Keiko being Karen. So it's two. This is the story of the two Karens.
He wasn't Karen in this. He was Barney Fife. and oh my God, I just realized he was Barney Fife and Odo was Andy Taylor. Come on, Barn. I'm gonna have to take your bullet away again and put it in your pocket. Lieutenant Crittenden
is here, boss.
Hey, Lieutenant. Good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome. So while you're doing that, I will get us some Max Redstone entertainment. How about that?
Do it. Oh, look at all these wonderful people. Look at they're putting Keiko in the agony booth.
Wow.
They rovered her. This is great. Your agonizer, please.
All right, everyone. Hippocratic Oath by the great Max Redstone, master of lyrics. He says, here we go. Julian and Miles crash on a planet far off from DS9's eye. Jemadar grabbed them, yet lo and behold, their leader does not need Ketracel White to get by. Bashir cannot find the bugs to counter the Founder's dastardly drugs. At least we see Odo serving Worf some juicy, humble pie. Whoa! Nice stuff, Maxer. Dude, that's top-notch stuff right there. As always.
I mean, see why I'm trying to push him to do a book?
He's great, yeah. Absolutely, I see that, yeah. Very great stuff. Love it. All right, let's see here. All right. Sorry, I had to write something down. Okay. All right, where are we at? All right, folks, reviews. Cassandra Beacom says C. This episode could have been deeper. The only reason the official RB. The only reason the official RB. Okay. Thank you so much to the wonderful Cassandra Beacom. Enigmatic Drop Bear says B. The A plot was tightly constructed with solid story beats that very effectively played the traits of its eponymous title against Chief's ruthless pragmatism. Sorry about the garbling there, Enigmatic. I was eating an M&M. Just kidding. I already had finished one. It raises some interesting questions for future episodes. Are there chinks in the Dominion's heretofore apparent impervious armor, both in the revolutionary and logistical senses? The Worf Quark Odo B story wasn't much to write home about. I guess it reinforced Odo's authority in his role and Quark's lovable rogue. Perhaps the purpose was exposition for new viewers. I don't know. I actually don't. I didn't think it was particularly compelling either, but I actually don't think it's completely outrageous that Worf didn't understand Odo's job just because he came from the Enterprise handling security on a starship. I mean, what Cisco told him was essentially made sense that, first of all, you're not to see for security. For one thing, he was being Karen in that respect. But he was also, hey, you're being a busybody. It's not your place. Maybe Worf shouldn't have been doing that. But Worf is pretty zealous a lot of times. But
Worf doesn't disobey orders.
Different.
He doesn't disobey orders, and he was told to back off.
And he did disobey orders, yeah.
And right. It's not becoming of his character. So
agreed. Anyway,
sorry.
Well, no. Very well done. As my exec, it is your job to offer all alternatives. It's a B Masters Maniac Mexico, MMM. The extra M to buy M&Ms. It's a B as it develops too slow to be an A. But what I really found interesting was the aftermath. No more darts for a good while with this and a new direction in the friendship of these two crewmen. I think they pretty much probably drop it after that, to be honest. Dave G. Sound says C-. This episode has action, a plot, and acting. That's it. Though it established later plot points, it never grabbed me as a memorable, exciting, or fun episode that I include as one of my favorites. That's a fair cop. Yeah, it's just groundwork stuff. And really, I don't even know how much it's groundwork really that they even really needed that much, to be honest with you. JT Kirk says D+. Wow. We learned more about the Jemadar, but that's about all that's good here. I would side with Miles 100% of the times against Bashir. Does the Claboni run on Ketra sell white? I don't know. If we see more of those, we might hear Claboni on this one, but I don't know. Michael Beacom says,
Yes.
D. We're getting to Claboni territory. This episode looks like what you get if you fed every plot from DS9 into an AI and added extrude Trek script. Meh. A and B plot are back, and other than Worf, nothing really new.
Right? Annoying.
Good part. Page 266, they admit that this time they are ripping off Bridge on the River Kwai. Badly, in my opinion, says he. 265, page 265, sorry, by Rene Aubergenois, who said that he was warned by LeVar Burton that the third episode is, hang on, where you hit the wall. Yes, Renee, I agree. Would have preferred them to lose the Bashir O'Brien stuff and just follow Worf trying to figure out he's not on the Enterprise anymore. Got you covered. I see what you're saying. Cardinal Sin, our buddy old Cardi, says, I give this episode a B+. I thought it was thoughtful, provocative, and interesting, despite the fact that it had already been done on TOS and TNG in several science fiction films.
Yep.
It's a fair call. Shooter says A-. Okay, back to the A and B story format. We will start with B. Filler, but isn't too bad. Worf, a former security officer, struggles with accepting the difficulties of securing a free port, although, as Raquel pointed out, it was none of his damn beeswax, and he was disobeying orders. Compassion for the enemy versus survival. While Miles and Julian share the same values, but their individual experience and career roles define how they approach the situation. Was Julian wrong? Would his decision be correct if a similar situation was accounted again? Miles channels Professor Higgins. Why can't a woman be more like a man? Oh, boy, that's sexist. That's sexist, pig. Steven says A-. This episode tells an excellent story, giving more depth not only to the characters of O'Brien and Bashir, but to the Jemadar as well. Worf's embarrassment at unknowingly interfering with Odo's undercover sting operation showed that while he was dedicated to law and order, it was this incident that reminded him that it was no longer his primary role and that he should focus on his current role and the responsibilities that go along with it. In a surprising development, we see Bashir pull rank on O'Brien, as he clearly believes that his chosen course of action of attempting to help the Jemadar become free of the Ketracel White is the correct one. Despite O'Brien's opposition to this plan and ultimately the act of insubordination that he committed to force Bashir to leave, it's clear that the events that occurred didn't ruin their friendship and that while in disagreement with each other, they still respected one another, a wonderfully executed episode, which can cause some healthy debates amongst fans, which, of course, Star Trek is supposed to do. Well said, Kal-El. Absolutely. I understand what you're saying. Enigmatic Driver says, Max strikes again. Brilliant. Yes,
I know that's not a review, but he got some props, and I like to shout out Max because I love Max. So
absolutely, Mark D with the C also says Max A+++++. It was very nicely done.
Yeah, really, like I just appreciate it, and I just wanted to show him that everybody is behind him and that we care about him and we appreciate him.
Max, your work deserves better than me. As a reader, absolutely reading it, but as its platform. Reading it, but at least we get it out there. Thank you so much. Pleasant Valley Picker says C+. Julian and Miles captured by the Jim'Hadar gets it going. The Jim'Hadar leader, excuse me, wanting to free his men from drug dependency was intriguing. I found Goran Agar a sympathetic character. I did too, and I did think that was interesting when he was talking about the conversation he had with Bashir about gods and about the founders and all that kind of stuff. I thought was a really good scene. He seemed to be an individual developing his own worldview. He was developing a moral center. I wish he could have joined DS9 as a character, but guess it would not have worked within the series. That's a good, it's not a bad idea.
I am Hugh.
Yeah, I think, but Hugh, they treated like a baby and they sort of gave him all of that stuff. This guy was programmed to be this warrior type from the beginning, and then he's changed on his own.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'm almost with PvP. I never thought about it, but as a recurring character, that might have been interesting. Maybe not as a regular, mind you, but as recurring. Sadly, though, it's doubtful Goran Agar's men would ever change. The Bashir and O'Brien conflict added a deeper complexity to their friendship and professional relationship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but Miles O'Brien would never disobey orders, and neither would Worf. So anyway, I'm going to be quiet.
Well, I guess. I mean, people do things out of character sometimes too, but I'm not arguing with you. I hear you. Since Bashir outranks O'Brien and O'Brien disobeyed a direct order, can Bashir ever trust him in the field completely again? I don't know.
Why wasn't he reported?
All I can tell you is this. I hear you, but in Star Trek, it happens all the time for drama. Kirk disobeyed orders 50,000 times and got away with it because what he did was right. This one, nothing was resolved who was right or wrong, and he isn't a superior officer, but he's not the captain or an admiral. But it left it. I mean, sometimes things happen unresolved, and sometimes human beings in the 24th century act out of character and do things they don't normally do. That's the same thing with Worf. Did something he doesn't normally do. I can buy into it for drama reasons sometimes, and then otherwise characters are perfect all the time, so they shouldn't always be perfect either. So I'm okay with what they both did. They both disobeyed orders, interestingly enough, in the episode. So the Odo Worf subplot was fun as a B plot. Seeing Worf not trusting Odo's competence as chief of security showed he had not adapted to no longer being chief of security. Yeah, that's obviously true. He liked being chief of security, I guess. Raymond Feliciano says B-. I agree with, I think it's B-. I agree with Raquel. Sadly, they did the same thing to her character. Now she related to how she related to Klinger in MASH. Yeah, they did, didn't they? Ugh. She did act like that on MASH. This reveals the Jim'Hadar are a true slave race. They are. They were created for that purpose. And yeah, I guess I don't really watch a lot of those later MASHs with her on there, but come to think of it, maybe Keiko was that same character from MASH. Maybe they saw that and said she should play that same character. Wolfie says, B. O'Brien finally gets his stripes. I think the episode should have been called The Warrior Code. Lots of detail about who outranks who, why, and Jim'Hadar being controlled by the Vorta. Did not like going into the Gamma Quadrant with only two personnel on a runabout for any reason. I always think that's kind of silly. When they do that, I know why they're doing it. They're doing it for story reasons, But
why not just send Cisco for some soil samples
exactly.
into Cardassian territory?
Exactly.
He's there to.
Yeah, it's not good. They at least send security people with them. How about that?
Yeah.
I mean, they'll get killed, but still. Bubba Bubba Doob says C plus to B minus. Okay. Sid is really coming into his own as an actor and making his character lovable. Goran Agar really should have just gone to a meeting with Gary. I love Gary, no shade. I think he means Gary, the great Gary with Nerdrotic, maybe.
I don't know.
Oh, because of the drugs thing. Yeah. Shout out to the great Gary with Nerdrotic, by the way. Chris Porja says C plus. Poor man's attempt at making Enemy Mine a single TV episode wrapped up in the veil of Trek.
Yep.
Not the first time that's been done either. Bashir helping the Jem'Hadar break their chemical dependency.
Mm-hmm.
In an attempt to destabilize the Dominion is interesting, but is merely retreading the steps taken past season in the Abandoned.
Yep.
Oh, gotcha, yeah. Shut up, Keiko. I don't think you can get a whole lot of pushback on that one, buddy. Auntie Jill, our wonderful chief of communications, says, A, Bashir's optimistic approach to free a race of genetically engineered slaves is contrasted with O'Brien's pragmatism as a soldier who knows the dangers and potential ramification. That's a good point, Jill. And that's one of the, again, I think the episode has a lot of interesting points for sure. It's just not like, I mean, I guess coming after the 2 episodes that came after, especially Way of the Warrior, something like that. I mean, we're back to business now. They're back to week where they're going to be setting things up and building their blocks for their, but it's still a good start to the season. So it's not like we're talking about something I thought was, at least I didn't think was like god awful or anything. It is the best Keiko episode ever though, because she gets mentioned and she's not in it, right? Anyway. So is that all our reviews? That's all the reviews we have so far. Mark D, no reviews. Not seen one yet. Going once, going twice. What do you think? Should we move on?
It's up to you, boss. It's your call. You're the captain.
Well, he might be busy. Maybe he's doing something. We'll wait if you want.
Are you eating cake? Is that what you're doing right now, Mark D with the C? Are you eating
cake and ice cream? If you are, that's cool. We can wait. You can send that review with your next one. How about that? With the next episode, or tell us later if you're able to jump on.
Hey-o!
Hey-o! Shut up, Keiko. Well, we were about to move on.
Ridiculous.
To the next episode.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Redonkulous, as the kids say. Or do the kids say that? Maybe they don't say that anymore. Anyway, all right. Okay.
Maybe the kids say that, just not the cool kids anymore.
Not the cool. The uncool ones say it.
The uncool
ones are always saying uncool shite. Yeah. So, all right. Well, we'll go on to the final episode of the evening. Are we ready?
We're ready.
Okay. Our final episode of the evening, folks, is Insurrection. Just kidding. It's Indiscretion.
Wait. Sorry.
Oh, he's got him.
Matt Carter there. And look, the cake man is back. Eating your cake. Who do you even think you are? Cake man.
All right. So he does have a review. Okay.
He does. He just put it up.
A final review of the evening. B minus. Good character study of the relationship between the chief O'Brien, the chief and O'Brien. I think it means the chief and the doctor. I don't know. Unfortunately, I think the chief should have followed Julian's orders. It should permanently cripple their relationship. Their relation. You think it should?
And why didn't he put him in for a court martial? Why wouldn't, or disciplinary action? I mean, I'm not a military expert, but come on.
Yeah. Excuse me. War for Noto plot was funny, and we learned that the Jem'Hadar are only acting like monsters due to a genetic drug addiction. Shades of the TNG episode Symbiosis. Sure. The doctor should try to cure his patients. If he does find a cure, couldn't that end the war before it starts? I mean, I thought that was not completely unreasonable. No. A mutiny like this could permanently cripple the relationship and was out of character for the chief. P.S. P.S. To be fair, I've got some extra stuff in the house, and the missus puts up with it. Although I should periodically check eBay for sure. He's talking about Keiko, I guess. Yeah, well,
cake, just not Keiko.
Are you equating your better half with Keiko? Whoa, don't tell her that.
Yikes.
We have some trivia from Michael Beacom. Companion trivia. Rene Auberjonois was originally set to direct The Visitor, but due to a change, he got Hippocratic Oath. Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay.
Okie dokie,
Let's move on to the next and in the final episode of the evening, which is indigestion. Oh, sorry, indiscretion. And while you do that, I'm going to go take medicine.
You go take your medicine. Okay, everybody, you got my 6 in the chat. Chris is
I'll
here.
Be right
Eric's
back.
here. D. Bud Martin's here. Everybody watch me, please. Here we go. Indiscretion is season 4, episode 4, generally referred to as prod code 477. We all watched this for the very first time on October 23rd, 1995. I'm going to be reading extemporaneously. That means a cold read. I haven't read it first. From the plot provided by Wikipedia. And welcome, Daniel's Hot Topics. Nice to see you. And we're in the thick of it. So I'll get back to you in a second. A Bajoran smuggler tells Major Kira that he has recovered a piece of metal that might be from Ravenok, a Cardassian ship that disappeared 6 years ago with a group of Bajoran prisoners, including a friend of Kira's. She makes plans to investigate, but the Cardassian government insists on sending Gul Dukat to accompany her. The two travel to a desert planet near where the fragment was found. When they find the wreckage of the Ravenok, Kira and Dukat discover 12 graves near the wreckage, but since several more people were on the ship, they conclude that some of the survivors may still be alive. First, however, Dukat opens the graves in order to identify bodies and is overcome with grief when he finds the remains of a Bajoran woman who was his mistress. They soon set off on foot, scanning the planet for survivors. While setting up camp, Dukat reveals that he and his mistress had a daughter, Tora Zial, who may be among the survivors. Unfortunately, if he finds her alive, he plans to kill her to avoid a scandal that could endanger his Cardassian family and career. Kira tells Dukat that she will not allow him to kill Zial. It's hard for me with the American stuff because remember, we say Z, you say Z, so please excuse me, folks. Anyways, Kira and Dukat discover a mining operation of Bajoran and Cardassian prisoners supervised by the Breen. Dukat sees his half-Cardassian, half-Bajoran daughter among the prisoners. Excuse me. Disguised as Breen, Kira and Dukat infiltrate the mine, overcome the guards, and free the prisoners. Kira is sad to learn that her friend died 2 years earlier, but Dukat is only interested in finding his daughter. Sorry, everyone, I'm just getting over a really bad cold. When he finds her, she instantly recognizes her father, thrilled to see him despite the fact he is aiming a phaser rifle at her. Kira arrives and tries to stop him. Zial realizes what is happening and tells her father she would rather die if she cannot go with him. She hugs him affectionately, and Dukat, shaken with emotion, decides to take Zial home, even if it costs him everything he has. Meanwhile, in a side plot, because the side plots, on Deep Space Nine, Captain Benjamin Sisko learns that his girlfriend, Cassidy Yates, has been offered a job on Bajor and is considering moving to the station. Instead of congratulating her, Sisko can only express his anxiety about escalating their relationship. But Sisko's friends and his son Jake convince him to apologize to her, which is just absolutely ridiculous. Anyways, I shouldn't be saying any of this until I hear, Boss, are you back? And if you are back, what did you think of Indiscretion?
I'm back. Hello there, Daniel's Hot Topics. Welcome. I don't think we've seen you here before.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to Clobbering Times. It's great to see you on Saturday Night Star Trek here. Well, yeah, again, another one of these A and B plot filler foundational type episode, soap opera, which is going to get a lot of time on this show. And the stuff with with Ducat and Kira is definitely the best thing, best because they're really two, great actors and great characters together. They play off each other very well. It was a very interesting story for that part of it. The Cisco love life stuff, I thought it was not very well handled. I mean, I'm not saying she's not Keiko to me like Keiko is. I don't think I like Cassidy fine, but some of that stuff I'm like, I don't know. I'm not really into it that much. It's not really my bag. All the domestic stuff, as I like to call it sometimes.
Yeah, and it really makes Cisco to be a bad guy, right?
Yeah,
because he doesn't want
wrong.
his girlfriend moving in with him and bringing her toothbrush. Well, if you show up at your boyfriend's house with a toothbrush, there is this expectation that you're moving in, and that's what's happening. The station is pretty small. I mean, I know the station is huge, but at the same time, it's a big move. And his wife just died. Hello. And his wife died tragically. Hello. Anyway, I'm going to shut up for now.
No. Here, I'm absolutely with Daniel. Thank you for the subscribe. Appreciate that. But yes, it's just, I don't think that there's another thing. If you're going to do it, at least do it right. I think it is a big step. Yeah, I mean, he was right. Huge. And she overreacted.
Yeah, and it's weird that all of his friends and Jake convince him to apologize to her. Yeah. Apologize to her for what? It's tantamount to her moving in with him. He's not doing anything wrong here. His wife just died violently. Tragically, he was about to change his entire life and completely regress from society, quit his job and go basically live as a hermit somewhere because she was his soulmate. Like what? Who? Anyway.
Yeah, I'm not. I think he did. I just think she overreacted a little bit. If she would a calmer person, she'd have said, "Yeah, yes, it is." So you want to not? I mean, yeah, I see. She should see where he's coming from. She should understand it. Katie! Oh, my goodness.
Hey, sweetheart.
Katie Dax. Hey, Katie. What's up? It's so great to see you. What's she saying? What we got going on here?
Oh, just fun stuff. Do you want to read it?
In the midst of the Nutcracker performance, so I can't be around a lot. Oh, wow. So, Way of the Warrior, she says 8 out of 10. Wow, you're cruel to... You're rough around than we were. We all gave it A+ around here. Katie, you're just a mean person these days. No, I'm kidding you. Visitor 8.510. Hippocratic Oath 6 of 10. And Indiscretion 6 of 10. Wow. She is, Katie's you rubbed up on her. She's rough on her reviews now.
No, Katie, she's just very honest in her feelings. And Katie, honey, are you backstage? Are you dancing in the Nutcracker? It's important to remember that Katie is a ballerina on a scholarship in university. So she could very well be dancing tonight. Are you backstage texting us, you marvelous, marvelous, beautiful young woman?
She could be.
She could be in the audience. She could be dancing. We don't know.
I was just teasing her because I know she's always so kind with her reviews, or she's very kind in the reviews. But I think you and Lord Thoth have got her she's definitely more stingy with those A's now. Of course,
she's dancing. She's dancing. Oh, she says, "I'm home now. Had 2 performances earlier. 1 performance tomorrow, and a bunch next week. Baby!
Fantastic. That's great to hear that.
Love you. So proud of you. I bet you look gorgeous.
Indeed. Did you do notes yet?
No.
Go for the notes.
Okay, are we ready for that?
Go for those notes.
Okay, all right. Even people you hate have feelings. This is the message. So be good. Be as hard on your enemies as you are on yourself. This is the message. This is a horrific tale of interspecies hate, bigotry, and the boss and boss relationship. This is the most annoying B story. This is yucky, and I'm not a fan. Cisco is a widower. She's acting obnoxious and insulting his intelligence. Why? She actually like treats him like he's stupid. She actually says to him that he's not smart while he's trying to apologize to her for something he should not be apologizing for. There are some people who marry their soulmate, and if their soulmate dies, they never remarry. There are even some animals that are like that. Birds, creatures, you know, small, big and small. They, you know, they have that connection with their one true love. So it's also important to mention that his wife died tragically, and extremely violently, and this is something that he has struggled with as a person. So I thought it was way weird that that Jake and all of his friends make him feel like he's stupid, and that she doesn't accept his apology, and says that he's what does she call him? She says he's not intelligent or something like that. I forget the exact word she uses, but I think it's absolutely ridiculous. And I hate it, and I'm annoyed. And that's all I wrote.
Yeah, I thought she was unreasonable. Absolutely. So, what is your rating of indiscretion and digestion?
Indiscretion, indigestion is an absolute bore and a half. It's ridiculous. I hate it. It's a D.
Wow. Whoa, wow. Yeah, I was just sort of didn't quite hate it as much as you. I gave it a C minus, but I didn't really. I mean, I thought some of the interactions between Kira and Ducat were okay, but I just can't stand the Beast or the whole thing with Cisco for the reasons you laid out. I don't really. I just
Your wife dies.
She's unreasonable.
You meet this chick. She's away a lot because she's a freighter captain. You guys are knocking boots. One day she basically says, "Hey, I'm moving to your home. You're in charge of this station. I'm moving here. Basically, I'm putting my toothbrush in your medicine cabinet. What do you mean you don't want me, or you're hesitant, or you're not?" Actually, she doesn't even say that. She says like he wasn't enthusiastic about her doing it or whatever, and that he's stupid. And meanwhile, the guy's wife died. It's just absolutely so preposterous, so ridiculous, and you should never call a widower unintelligent because it takes them some time to move on. And some people can't move on, and that's okay. So stick it.
Well said. There you go. All right, everybody. All right, everybody. Please proceed with your reviews while I fetch us some Max Redstone Limerick entertainment.
Yeah, Katie, I didn't like the Kira Ducat stuff either. I also found it immature. And what's going on with her head? She needs a haircut. It looks ridiculous.
Her hair looks weird, yeah. Well, I'm immature. That's why I like it, because I like the way she gets on his nerves. And I want him to, I like actually, I kind of like the scene where she tells him, "If you kill that girl, I'll kill you." I believed her. Anyway, you kill that man. Ducat's I don't know. He's just such a prat.
Oh, Katie says she'd prefer for them to be married than move in. Yes, I know. I know what you believe, and I think it's
she wasn't
marvelous.
moving in. She was moving on the station, not in his house, in his place.
Yes, but it feels like that's what's being proposed, and Katie is just talking about like what she believes as a strong believer. She's just making a joke.
Daniel, since you're new here, I'll tell you that no, I despise anything after 2005. So if you see up there, we got 66 or 05 is only the legitimate Star Trek. I hate everything after 2005 with a passion. We call it anything after 2005 the filth here. So no, STD, P hard is for us here. And again, everyone else is kind of like what they like, of course, but I call all of it garbage, and I don't consider it to be in the same universe. In my own personal headcanon, it's not none of that Star Trek. It's not legitimate Trek to me. To answer your question, and thank you for asking.
I agree. And Katie has put up a bunch of laughing emoticons, and she says, "It's a joke, everyone. Please don't judge me." Katie, as long as I am at the head of whatever show that I'm at, or I'm co-hosting at whatever show I'm at, no one will ever judge you.
No judging. Everyone loves you, Katie.
Yeah, I think it is remarkable that a beautiful young ballerina would hang around with a bunch of old fogies, and Gene Roddenberry would have loved you. Here you are, are picking up the baton and taking all the stuff we love into this next generation, these young people who, and the younger people, they're not even watching it. They're watching the filth. And here you are hanging around with a bunch of old fogies as a real Trekkie. You're a real 735er. I love you, and no one will ever pick on you. I will kick their butt. I love you, sweetheart.
Oh yeah. We tease each other around here, but no, we love it. We're all friends here, you know. No, Katie, you know, we love you here. So, where was we? Oh, everyone start putting their reviews.
Yeah, do it.
Anyone putting reviews up yet? You watch for the reviews.
I will. I'll start watching right now.
What we do here, Daniel, so you'll know, is we everyone can put their rating and any reviews, any words they may have about the episode. If you don't have to, but if you're so inclined, you're definitely welcome to do so. All right, so here we go. And Max Redstone Entertainment, folks, we have a limit for each episode tonight. He's done a fantastic job. And now for the last episode of the night, Indiscretion. He put the indiscretion. Wow. Okay, here we go, folks. The Indiscretion from the great Max Redstone. I'm nothing less than a Cardassian tiger, Gul Dukat. Oh, what? I'm nothing less than a Cardassian tiger. Gul Dukat was once heard to have. Oh, I'm nothing less than a Cardassian tiger. Gul Dukat was once heard to have sung. And for his stripes, we know he will just kill. I'm gonna start over because it's confusing. He has a confusing opening to this one. Sorry, Max. Don't hit me. Indiscretion by Max Redstone. Starting again. I'm nothing less than a Cardassian tiger, Gul Dukat was once heard to have sung. As for his stripes, we know he will kill just to advance to his career's next ladder rung. And yes, of course, his top skill is to destroy, explode, and kill. But now we know he's quite willing to eat his own young. Whoa. Twisty and turny, but excellent as always for the great Max Redstone, the master of limerickness. He's done some fine limericks tonight.
Way to
Thank
go,
you
honey.
so much. Astounding work, folks. And now for some reviews, my friends. Bubba Doom judges you, Katie. He judges you A+. As we all do. We judge you A+, but JT Kirk says C-. Shouldn't the emissary of the prophets marry the woman before she moves in? She moves into the station, not his house, not his habitat. But I hear you, buddy. Seems like a bad example for Jake, and it could even cause a diplomatic incident. Zial is a cutie.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I think that there is a big difference between being a single person and being in charge at work, and then someone coming to live not only where you live but also at your work. It really puts Ben in an odd position because not only is he a widower, but now his girlfriend, who he's been knocking boots with, is going to be basically on his doorstep. And so they're going to be spending a great deal of time together. I mean, whenever she's at the station, they're together all the time. And he also won't be able to get away from her if they break up. And also everyone who works for him, basically, I'm going to say works for him because, I don't have the military know-how to describe it. His underlings, or whatever you want to say, are going to see him in a romantic light instead of being in charge. So it does create a very odd dynamic. In the way I see it is, it's actually worse than her just moving in with him because it creates a relationship you can't get away from, and it's being done in front of everyone in your private life and at work. Ooh.
Yep. Okay. Absolutely. Oh, here we go. Kal-El, Stephen M. says A-. Although this episode was excellently executed, but the B plot of Cisco's relationship gaffe with Cassidy was completely unnecessary. Kira's reluctance to go anywhere with Dukat was understandable. I got to get to this next one. Hang on, everybody. Understandable, given his role during the occupation, but even the consummate professional Kira performs her duty with aplomb. We also get to see a humane side to Dukat when he realizes. Hang on.
Oh, so it is subordinates. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Eric. It is appropriate to say subordinates. Okay, thank you. Sorry about that.
That the woman he once loved is gone. Also, in a later scene, he almost eliminates his daughter ultimately relents, moved by her words. This episode while not quite as good as this next one here. Previous three, due to its B plot, is still an incredibly wonderful, enjoyable, and entertaining episode. Thank you so much, Stephen. Appreciate you, buddy. Kal-El again, as always. The great Kal-El, folks. Let's see here. Raymond Feliciano of King Dolphin TV and Color says, D, this is why we should not have A and B plots.
Right on, Raymond.
There you go. Yes, sir. Shooter says B minus. Okay, B story, relationship stuff. Cisco has to accept the changing conditions of his relationship. This may be filler, but is part of the serialized storyline that will continue to series end. That's true. It's groundwork. Yeah. Excuse me. Dukat is my favorite villain. Despite his negative traits, there are some moments where you see goodness in him. This episode is a prime example when the small light inside shines through. Let's see here. I probably rate this higher than most. There's a sense of adventure to it. Enemies working together and even bonding a bit. Introduction to the Breen as well. This was the introduction to the Breen. I mean, they did mention the Breen in Generations. I don't know if they showed them before that or not. So that was the introduction to the Breen. Are you sure?
There's a Breen in the TNG episode when Picard is taken hostage, and there's a Nausicaan there and a Bolian there,
right.
And I believe a Breen is there as well.
Gotcha. Enigmatic Drop Bear says A. This was a brilliant character study born out of a road trip that was inevitably going to end up with Kira and Dukat descending into conflict. Sorry about that. Had to clear. Dukat is a man in transition from a leader in a brutal occupation to a leader in a military government to trying to find a place in a government that has transitioned to civilian leadership. We know from prior episodes that Dukat holds family values in high regard. Here we discover he has fallen foul of the most inevitable ramifications of using Bajoran females as comfort women. He is living a contradiction and his safety nets are failing. Had the occupation continued or the military government prevailed, perhaps his indiscretion would remain lost in his past. Excuse me. Hegemony rarely persists, so here we see one of the results of its collapse. One wonders whether Garak, given his skill set, had Dukat's indiscretion in his back pocket. That is something to wonder about. This was another where the B story brings the episode down a notch. It was unnecessary, and the time it consumed could have been, used to better effect exploring the plight of the crash victims.
Rob Altus is here. Hey, sweetheart.
Good point. Hey, Rob Altus.
He's thrilled to be home early enough to catch the show. And you know what? We're thrilled to have you here, Rob Altus. Welcome, my friend.
Good to see you, man. Thank you for being here. I hope you're doing well. The Breen outfits were reminiscent of Princess Leia's bounty hunter disguise in Return of the Jedi. Yes. Bosch or whatever she was called. Except the Breen had given visitors and visors instead of amber visors. Sorry. But yes, they had green visors instead of amber visors. She does look like they do look like Bosch. What was she called? Wasn't she calling herself Bosch in that? Maybe I'm misremembering. Someone will definitely correct me. I know where with this crowd I'll get corrected. Wolfie says rating B-. We finally see the Breen. That's weird. Why is Princess again? I thought we saw the Breen before this. We did. They were on TNG, weren't they? Was it this season? Anyway, that's weird. Why is Princess Leia in Bosch bounty hunter disguise? Yeah, Bosch. Okay, it was Bosch. Okay, there's someone else mentioning Princess Leia. So I always called her Bosch or Bausch. I always Bosch. Always, is that how you spell it? Oh, never mind. Bounty hunter disguise from Return of the Jedi in this episode. I don't know, but that's Tulu mentioned that now. It does make me think of that as well.
Wolfie.
Kardashians. When I get a giant spike stuck in my ass, I jump around like a Looney Tunes cartoon. Yeah, that was funny.
Which encyclopedia says this is the first appearance of the Breen?
I could have swore they were, and I know they were mentioned in Generations.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
Riker mentions them.
And isn't there a Breen when Picard is taken hostage in TNG? There's a Nausicaan there, a Bolian there, and
No, it was somebody else.
They take a Breen away first, don't they? I believe so. I mean, I could have it wrong, but you got to be careful which encyclopedia you're looking to.
Might be true. I don't know. I don't know. Could be. Michael Beacom says, no rating. Did not get the time to review this one, but in the companion, they admit this time they are ripping off The Searchers. Yeah, they are. Directed by LeVar Burton, the book makes it clear that this is there we go. All about shipping. Considering Geordi is the king of unfulfilled relationships from TNG, is this ironic?
Yeah.
From the description, that's all the writers cared about. Who's doing who? Very filth, very CW.
That's why I gave it a D.
So you mean like shipping? I guess you mean shipping Dukat and
Kira, LeVar
right?
Burton wanted to use the episode to get the relationships going. It's so annoying. I hate it.
I'm glad that didn't stick. Ugh. Pleasant Valley Picker says, seeing Kira and Gul Dukat on a mission together was interesting. Searching the wreckage of the Ravenok was a good plot device. To explore further their individual characters and expand their relationship as past adversaries. Okay. Searching the remains, Dukat mourning his mistress and realizing his half-Bajoran daughter may be alive. Expand his character's complexity. Okie dokie. Dukat, only thinking of himself at first, is true to character. When he finally sees his daughter, Tora Ziel, his emotional meltdown is beautifully done. Their embrace is beautiful. Marco Lamo's an excellent actor. There's no question about it. I won't mention the B story. It's a fair cop. You don't have to.
PvP also says, it says here Dukat appeared in 35 of the series' 176 episodes. I thought there were more. I don't know where you're reading from. Remember, don't believe anything you read on IMDb. Don't believe anything you read on Wikipedia. And don't believe anything you read on Memory Alpha. It's all crap. And it's been infiltrated by filth people. I can tell you, PvP, that although a lot of Americans are confused by your CA, I know that that's the call sign. You live in British Columbia. So because you are a Canadian and you are a pre-internet fan, I want you to know that you can be very comfortable in your assertion that it is 176. You watched 176 in the 90s. So anything after that, it's just people sort of arguing about how they split up the episodes on different streaming services. So you're Canadian, you watched in the 90s. So always remember this. TOS is 79 plus 6. TAS is 22. TNG is 178 plus 4. DS9 is 176. Voyager is 172. Ent is 98 for the 735, regardless of how the streaming services are now hacking it up.
There you go. Max Redstone says D minus. The A minus plot seems like a cheesy river. I think it means A plot. I don't think odd. Sorry, the A plot seems like a cheesy reversal of Johnny Cash's "A Boy Named Sue," i.e., the cot cleaning up. The B plot is either a bad story from Friends or How to Lose an Emissary in 10 Days. Thank you.
She calls him stupid or says he isn't smart or he's unintelligent or whatever. And that is revolting to me that somebody would treat a widower like that. And PvP says he grabbed that from Wikipedia, so that's why he wanted to make sure it was right.
Okay, gotcha.
Or
right.
Here. So great job,
Gotcha.
PvP. Thank you for that, honey.
Indeed. Chris Purchase says, "You're right, that Lord Feliciano. This does perfectly highlight the problem with having multiple plots in a story. Is neither are well written." Yeah, indeedishness.
Rob Altus says, "Did I miss any O Miles?" No, you didn't miss any O Miles, but Rob Altus, you did miss a "Shut Up, Keiko" from me and I believe Mark D with a C and Chris Persia, and Eric might have joined in with us as well.
And she wasn't even here. And that was an episode she wasn't even in. So there you go.
Oh no,
Baba Doom.
Michael Beacom has to leave. He says, "Clobbering
All right,
times and
Michael Beacom.
Raquel, I gotta call it a night. Retreating to bed and
Good night,
working from
Michael.
here." Good night,
And good
Michael.
night,
But
Cassandra.
also, yeah, good night, Cassandra. Thank you so much for joining us, Beacons. We love you. You guys are a dynamic duo, wonderful husband and wife team. We love you. Thank you for all the effort you put in here tonight and for bringing that text with you. We love you. Mwah.
Appreciate you. Baba Doom says C plus. To be C plus to B minus, I guess. The story was okay. What really pulls it is Mark Alamo. It builds on the character of Ducat, who, in my opinion, is one of the greatest villains in sci-fi, even when he's got a sharp rock. Yes. Thank you so much. Also,
Be seeing you, sweetheart. Be seeing you.
Oh, did anyone else notice? Be seeing you. Did anyone else notice they age up Zial? They age Zial up 10 years. I don't know if it was 10 years. In this one, did they say she's 13?
I actually
I
don't
assume
remember.
this was so she could fall for Garrick. Thing is, she could fall for Garrick without being creepy. I'm fairly sure they said she was about 13 in this episode, and by the time she meets Garrick, that is creepy because she still couldn't have been more than like 13 or on the station when she comes back in a few. Well, we won't spoil her or anything, but she does come. I guess I shouldn't say that, but yeah, they do age her up. I don't know. Cardassians are weird. What can I tell you? I don't know about 10 years, but
crappy writers
says,
usually accelerate things because they're terrible at continuity.
Yeah, I hate that. Yeah, I hate that kind of crap. They do it too much. I ignored the B plot, but it was dumb. Says anything about drop air? Yes, sir. And I believe we have our final review of the evening by our chief engineer, Mark D with his C says up there. He says B minus. The Curie Ducat storyline was interesting. You got to see a human, in quotes, side to Ducat when he finally agrees to accept Zial and to bring her home to Cardassia despite the consequences. The B plot should have been jettisoned. The issue of moving on from a lost spouse was not handled well and in many ways offensive. I agree.
Yes.
Total crap. It's not time for the Orville. It's not time for the Orville to dock with DS9. Yeah, exactly. Ishness.
Bubba Doom says spoonheads are weirdos.
Spoonheads are weirdos. Mark D, of course. Please pop in at your leisure if you feel like it. If you would like. I am. That's it with the reviews. I'm calling it. We with 4 more episodes reviewed in the can. Next week, folks, on tap to be review lead are Rejoined, Starship Down, The Sword of Kalas, and Little Green Men. That's what we're going to be reviewing next week on
Excellent
Saturday
picture
Night
for
Star
Rejoined.
Trek.
Excellent picture for
Oh,
Rejoined.
thanks.
We're going to be making some points there, boss. Although I should not say that.
I think the guys will probably all agree with you on that one.
Well, it's
I don't
time
think you can
to
get a lot
down
of
with the
argument.
filth. We're going to have some down with the filth.
Down with the filth time. Yeah. So anyway, I think I'm. Let me check something. I think we have some pictures from Wolfie. Wolfie,
Wolfie sent nerd stuff.
Who wants a little bonus Wolfie time here, folks? He's every now and then likes to send us some cool pictures of some stuff, and I think let me see what we got here.
Engineers, they love to change things.
You could tell us what these are. These are just some, I guess it's some pictures of some of the Klingon ships that we saw in Way of the Warrior.
Nice.
Let's see. I'm sorry about that enigmatic drop there. I didn't mean to spoil or anything. That's not really. No, I'm talking about that I mentioned that we'd see Zial again. It's not that big of a spoiler.
Yeah, Vic.
Let's
go ahead. What? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, yeah, Vic, that's why I called it out. Here, like, we're a pretty tight-knit group, and a lot of people here, like, know each other behind the scenes, so it's not quite as anonymous as it is on other YouTube channels. So that's why I like to call out your expertise. Mark works in engineering, and I think Wolfie does as well, but I think he also has some military experience. And so, yeah, that's why I called you out immediately for being an electrical engineer, because, if we ever have any questions, I'm going to be like, hey, we have an expert here. So
we got an
expertise is celebrated here.
We have an engineer.
And thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you, Vic. We have an engineer right here with us.
We do.
Hey, how's it going? Great to see you. How's it going?
Were you trying to make him feel bad that he's not? You're trying to make him feel like he's being replaced or something? Way to go, Mark.
No, Mark's a different kind of engineer.
No, you can have plenty of engineers. That's okay.
He's
an
engineer's engineer. He's an every engineer.
I like to break things.
But we do appreciate you, Victor. We do. Anyway, all right. So, we have some pictures here, and again,
Katie has to leave.
Katie. First, I want to say, ED, Enigmatic Dropper. I'm so sorry about that, buddy. It was, I'm sorry, but all it is that you'll see a character again. It's not spoilery. I won't go into any story details on that, but I do apologize. I did not mean to do that, but anyway, I appreciate you here, though. Thank you, ED.
Break a leg, Katie.
We love you.
Pick button your show, honey.
Yeah, Katie, we love you. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight. And now some pictures from the great Wolfie.
Yay! More engineering, more engineers, more nerding with engineers.
Good stuff.
Mark, Wolfie, and now Vic. This is becoming a nerd room.
Is he an engineer? I don't know if Wolfie is or not, but Wolfie knows his ships.
Make him an honorary engineer.
Send some pics. Wolfie, feel free to tell everybody what they're looking at here. These, of course, a ship chart. Look at that big old, what is that?
Oh, I see why he's
the Nagar. Yeah, the Nagar. What?
Well, just the difference in size is the scale is wow.
Yeah, that's a big ship right there.
It is.
Okay, so we got the.
Oh no, Chris has to leave. Good night, honey. I love you.
Chris Berger, thank you so much.
Good night, honey. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Take care, man.
Chris says, I'm going to take this time to bid you all adieu. Have a great night and the rest of your weekend, everyone. So Chris is saying good night to everyone. Please, everyone, say good night to Chris. Chris, we love you, honey. Good night, hon.
Indeed. And thanks, ED. I appreciate you understanding. I just fell out of there. So this is the Nagar, or however you say it. I think the Navar, sorry. The Navar has a gigantic monstrosity right there. And then you got your Vorcha. Beneath that, you got your. My favorite's always going to be the D7. I love it because that's the first one. The Katinga looks very similar to the D7.
Katinga, like as in Inca Tinka
I guess.
Bagovna na.
I don't know. That does the Boy to Pray, which is a bit of a tiddler. And I don't see a Raptor class anywhere. But there we go. And let's see what else he's got for us. There's the Navarre class, an overview of it. Look at that. There we go. That Navarre class ship. Oh, Victor says he's got the the Eagle Moss ships before they went out of business. Yes, indeed.
Nice.
He says Navarre with the Vorcha and all the other Klingon ships we know. Okay. Wasn't there a Raptor class too, though? He'll know. So let's see. Then let's see what else he said. He said something to do with what was that?
Oh, the retrofit of DS9 with the rotary phasers.
I love those. Those are so cool.
Nerd.
That was a great scene with that. That was a really great scene.
Mm-hmm.
With the rotating, and I've got 5,000, photon torpedoes. Yeah.
Oh, D-Bud has to leave. D-Bud Martin, he says, I'm going to take off now.
D-Bud.
I stayed up way too late
buddy.
last night. Good night, everybody. D-Bud Martin, thank you for all of your help, for posting, the URLs, for keeping the chat clean and stuff. We just really love you and appreciate you very much. Everyone, please say good night to the great D-Bud Martin.
Take care, good Wrench of Iron. Appreciate you, man. Hey, Wolfie, wasn't that it's a micro torpedo launcher jet? Wasn't that a Raptor class in the Enterprise episode Sleeping Dogs? Could have swore they called it that, but I could be wrong. Anyway, what class was that one, Wolfie? I know you'll know. Let's see here.
What I think you're correct there. I think you're correct there, CLOBBERIN.
And there's look. He's showing some. Oh, cool! This is from some of the defensive systems of the station.
Cool.
Nice.
Thanks for sending these.
That's cool stuff there. Yeah, we love this kind of stuff. Wolfie is big into the. They said, "Yep, forgot the Enterprise ships you got at Raptor class. Thank you." But okay, that was on. Of course, it's an older ship, obviously, because it took place 100 years before it was on Enterprise. I love that though. These are like the station's defense, apparently. Yeah, that's where the torpedoes and stuff come out.
So nerdy, you big nerds.
Oh, wow, look at that.
Well, that's the thing. You realize how big DS9 is too.
Yeah.
So it's massive. I mean, it's a massive space station. The Enterprise can docks there, and it's a small little ship compared to the whole mass.
I'll tell you what, I love Babylon 5, but that Terok Nor station on Deep Space Nine is the most beautiful space station I've ever seen. Something about it. It's just incredible.
It's very cool design, yep. And it looks alien too, which is nice too. They didn't make it look anything like a Federation
that's right.
Ship station. It's totally alien tech. So they did a great job of differentiating there. So that looks really good. Yep.
Yep. You could believe the Cardassians built it.
Yes. At least they're good for something, making a spaceship look good. Hello there, Michelle O'Rourke Johansson. Hey there.
Hello.
Let's see here. So that's pretty
good. This is non-Star Trek related CLOBBERIN times, but my brother-in-law's in California. We'll show it on one of your shows or Sunday Night Geekery, but he got to walk through the Batcave in California, and he sent me a video of it. The 66
These are from the Deep Space Nine companion, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Thank you, buddy. He did? When was that? Today, you mean?
Today, yeah. He's visiting a friend out there, and they went to the Batcave. So it'll be fun to show that tomorrow night. Yep.
Gorgeous. Look at this.
This is badass here. Let's see if there's any more. Oh, this was from last time.
Yes.
These are some of those Cardassian ships he showed us.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the huge difference between the two of them. Yeah.
Yep.
It's weird. They look like fish, and I think it's so cool because, that this whole idea that you're sailing the seas, right?
Yeah, it's very organic. It's very organic, almost like a I don't say bacteria, but like a like you said, an insect or a small creature. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So very, very cool. Yep.
It's no illusion. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Wolfie. We always appreciate it, man. He always shows us some
Gorgeous.
really cool pictures and stuff like that. So, well,
yeah. Did you see everyone in the chat? Everyone in the chat was like, "This is so cool." Everyone loved it.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that, Wolfie. Yeah, because I was going to clip some, but I didn't have take a few of those screenshots from the battle and to show the ships. But thank you for that. That was really cool. So really good. Yeah.
I love the ships. I love stuff like that. Yeah. And I love there's like I said, a lot of friends, not just Wolfie. That I know have a lot of friends like him that really get into it for the tech stuff and love that stuff. And I've even known people who love it just for the Klingon. So I mean, Trek offers a lot of different things. I've known people who've gone to Klingon camp. Anyway.
Yeah.
So
the one thing I got to say real quickly, I got to sympathize with Ducat in that last episode. When I was a kid, someone left a pencil in the back seat. This is maybe too much information, but I sat down on it. My sister was in the back seat laughing, and then I went to sit down on it again, and I was like, "Ow, what's going on?
Oh, boy, stabbed in your butt."
So I was like, "Lord, did you put that pencil there?" So for years,
poor Ducat.
I had to go to the doctor. It was really embarrassing. Oh my god,
terrible and scary.
It's scary. And then I'm
just
like,
give me the heebie-jeebies, man.
But sorry to,
I think everybody's probably sat on something before and ouch. I mean,
yeah.
Whether somebody did it as a joke to you or you just, okay, well, I got you.
Yeah, but it impaled me.
Yeah,
Enough
got
said.
stabbed, Clobby.
I got stabbed. I mean, it wasn't like like a pinprick.
Yeah, he had a full Ducat moment. Is what he's trying to say.
I'm watching that. I had
he didn't have a dermal repair thingy.
No,
I didn't have a dermal repair thing. I had a bad flashback. Yes, I perforated my rear spoon.
You should have developed a dermal repair.
Ouchies.
Ouchie McOuchness.
Ouchie McOuchness.
Well. All right, folks. It is about time to start signing out. I will before we do that, any final words, number one?
Yes, I would love to take this opportunity to thank everyone who joined us in the chat tonight. This was wonderful Trek conversation. You guys are sensational conversationalists. Just all the different topics and all the different questions and interactions. It's truly sensational. And we're honored and privileged to host these Star Trek conversations. So way to go, 735ers. Thank you for putting the time, the knowledge, the opinions, the heart, the soul into this show. I also want to thank the Wrenches. I love you guys so much. Thank you for keeping the chat in order and also working behind the scenes to do production things for us here and there with URLs and the beautiful show posters that Chris Persia makes, and just, the incredible generosity of Eric Kay, and just, everyone who comes together to bring this show together. So love you guys very much. D. Bud Martin, everyone. Thank you, Wrenches. I just want to also say, please follow Mark D with a C. He has his own channel. He is a sweetheart of a human. Sometimes he's the biggest nerd you have ever met, and sometimes he is the biggest geek you've ever met. But one thing that's always true about Mark is that he is always kind and always has something interesting to talk about. I also want to thank Clobby for hosting this beautiful space. Without you, none of us are friends. We don't even know one another. You bring us together. So thank you for creating this beautiful Trek space for us to hang out and talk about something that we love, to celebrate something that we all love and that we've loved for decades. So you're the best, Captain. You're the best, Captain, and we love you.
Oh, thank you so much. Rob Alters, thank you for that $5 super chat. You were too kind, very generous of you. Thank you so much. He says, I just wanted to say, I love these reviews, even if I haven't seen most of the DS9. It speaks of the quality of the channel. Big TOS fan here. So, hey, we're all, I mean, I love DS9, but I'm the original series fan first and foremost.
Me
my
too.
Friend, as is Raquel. And I think even Mark might call himself that, but I can't speak for him.
Yep.
But if he's not, he's fired. So I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Did you see this? Vic
Thank
Fontaine
you, Rob.
said, now that I
Bubba.
know how the reviews are, I'll be breaking out the DS9 DVDs to rewatch for next week.
Oh,
Yay,
cool.
Vic!
Well, you're most welcome to be here. We appreciate you so much.
Thanks for being here.
Dave.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dave G Sound, and thank you, Bubba Doom, for those kind words. Mark, any closing remarks?
No, just well, yeah, a couple of quick ones. Yeah, Sunday night geekery tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if we're doing that now, and thank you, Raquel, for those
Yes.
awesome kind words. I did hit 400 over 400 subs this week. Thanks to everyone in the chat, and thanks to you and Raquel for getting me started and just having a great time. That's the main thing about it too. It's like, yeah, the numbers are nice, but it's really about making friends and having a good time and hanging out with them. And who cares if we don't have 20,000 people watching, even though 20,000 people should be watching you and Raquel each night.
Such a sweet
But
human.
but it's so nice just to hang out with this. It's actually some ways maybe it's better that it's a smaller club because then we can all interact with each other. That it's
cool
not
intimate group here.
Yeah, which is great. I did have a new video coming out on an indie action figure, but I had a short on it, and then I did a long form video. But I had the two cameras set up, so I removed myself from the stream. So about 15 minutes of the audio I didn't record, so I've got to redub it over. I got to the end, I'm like, oh, good, I'm all set with this video, and I went to play it back. Eric K would get a laugh of that because my audio's all screwed up. But there
you go.
Yep. So so thank you everyone, and catch you tomorrow night on Sunday Night Geekery.
I'll be there. We'll be there.
Thank
10
you.
p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Sunday night. Geekery on Mark D's channel. Please join us, my friends. Show notes. In addition to Sunday Night Geekery, Monday night, I will be joined by my good old friend Carlos of Comics Mania for a Clobby's Classic Comics review. The epic John Byrne team up Batman Captain America from the 90s. We have a lot of fun reviewing these comics, and I'll be reviewing comics a lot more. I'll be starting next week. We'll be reviewing a lot of Christmas comics, not only on my channel, but even Nick and the Comic Shop Gang and I will be doing a little bit of that as well. And then Wednesday night, the great retro blasting Master Michael French will be joining me for just a hangout. We'll just sitting like just a chill stream, as the kiddies say, hanging out, just talking some. If he heard me say that, he'd smack me for calling it that, probably. But the great Michael French and I will be hanging out on Wednesday night. Both of these shows that I've announced, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, because we're clobbering times. We're a comics channel, we're a Trek channel, we're an every other kind of geek thing channel. So, and then of course, please join us Thursday night, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, for Clobby's Clubhouse with the gang that's right here with Raquel and Mark and myself, where we talk about not just Star Trek, but all kind of stuff, science fiction movies, a little bit of comics, a little bit of toys, all kind of fun geekery. And then, Tuesday and Thursday nights, I'm usually at Midnight's Edge After Dark, at 7 p.m. Central. No, 6 p.m. Central, actually, with the great Tom Connors and the Midnight's Edge gang, the Meat Gang. And sometimes on Wednesday nights, I can be found 7 p.m. Central over there at Loki's channel for the Comic Book Roundtable, and then Friday nights at the great Nick Weiser's channel for the Comic Shop Talk. And then, of course, as always, as we will again next week, 4 more episodes of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, reviewing all of real Star Trek here on CLOBBERIN Times. And now for the goodbyes, the shout-outs to our fantastic friends, because if you are new here, we have a tradition with this. It takes some doing. It takes a while, but we do it anyway. We say hello when you come in, and we acknowledge you when you leave. Even if you're already gone, you get the shout out. So we're going to do it as fast as we can, folks, because I know we've been on for a while. But obviously, shout out to Chris, the great Mark D with a C, Auntie Drew with a Jill, because they are here with us, and they're members of the crew. Lord Thoth was not here tonight, but he gets a shout out anyway. The great Lord Thoth and Lady Thoth. And appreciate that, of course. Lord Thoth is he's our chief of security, so big shout out to you, buddy, in case you see this later. Appreciate you, and I hope you and Lady Thoth are doing well. And our fantastic wrenches, the great Eric K, the Bronze Wrencher of the West. And then there's the Vindicator Wrench of the North, the great Chris Persia. We appreciate you. And the Wrench of Iron, the fantastic D. Bud Martin. We really appreciate him. And there's that rascal Phantom Outsider. He was here tonight. Shout out to him. And shout out to our friend who was not feeling well, Apollome's Minion, and that's her pupper out there. I hope they're both doing well. A big shout out to anyone who has lurked or has been lurking, and anyone who has will be watching this rather on a download or a rewatch. I thank you so much. And before we get to the end credits, time for the shout outs. Retro Nerd Girl, our new friend, thank you so much for being here, Retro Nerd Girl. I'm honored to have you stop by. Thank you. I hope you're having a wonderful night. Let's see here. Let's see. Where is I? All
Boss man, just so you know,
Yes.
I know that you usually back the chat up so you don't miss any names, but I just wanted you to know that Snail Messiah just walked through the door and said, "Oh no, I'm here late. I missed it." So
I got them written down this time
rather
than back
perfect.
it up. But I did not have that one down. So Snail, sorry, buddy, but it was great to see you, my friend. I hope you're doing well way over there on the other side of the world. We have so many great friends all over the world. And you know what? In case you hear this on a rewatch, in case you happen to, Hungry Boy, I know we didn't see you here tonight, brother, but we love you. Don't you ever think you're anywhere far from our thoughts. And I'm sorry you weren't here tonight, but in case you just hear, if you might not even hear this, but if you do hear this, I want you to know, buddy, that you're always with us.
He's fine, everyone. There's nothing wrong. He's just catching some Z's, and that is the life of a talented artist. So he's catching some Z's, and everything is fine. And he wanted me to say hello to one and all, and that he's thinking of you.
Okie doke. And MJ Media, MJ1 Media, hey there. Good to see you. We're just now saying our goodbyes, but good to see you, and I hope you're doing well, and thank you for stopping in. Let's see here. Who else? Oh, yeah, okay. Shooter. Thank you for being here, buddy. Pleasant Valley Picker, thank you. Classic Comics, thank you for being here. Michael Carney, thanks for being here, my friend. Brian Hepburn. Dave G. Sound. Cal L. Buddy. Michael and Cassandra Beacom, thank you. JT Kirk, thank you. Enigmatic Drop Bear, thank you, buddy. Great to see you as always. Appreciate you. Mr. Angel, thank you so much. Bush McFadden was here. Thank you. Wolfie, thanks for the contributions. Thanks for the pictures and everything, buddy. Good to see you. Steve Mitchell, Maddie's daddy. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Tim's Talk on your left. Victor Fontaine. Thank you. Great to meet you, my new friend, and we hope you will return. Sandra and Raymond Feliciano, King Dolphin TV. Check all the links in my description below, everybody, for channels of many great friends. Terrell 72. Thanks for being here as always, my good friend. Eric O'Sullivan. It was so great to see you pop in, buddy. The great J-Man was lurking and hanging out earlier. Great to see you there, buddy. Matt J. Thank you. The Catman, a.k.a. D.D. Myers, and wife. Captain James T. Skywalker. Bubba Doom 1, thank you so much. Dadman walking in the Dadman clan. This is in the whole clan there. Lisa, lovely Lisa, thank you for being here tonight. Darius Munchausen. The great Max Redstone, thanks for all the great limericks, buddy. You rock. DJ Arani G, thank you so much. Naranax Amanda Bear, my friend. Keely Chow, Roll Tide. Double C. Darth Scipio. Markler Seth. Captain Infinity and Beyond. Midnight's Oblivion. Scogly Joe Toon, Masters Maniac Mexico, the Woke Breaker, Cardinal Sin, thank you so much, buddy. Let's see here. Lieutenant Crittenden, Daniel's Hot Topics, nice to meet you, a newcomer. Katie Dax, love you, my dear. We're also happy to see you. Bob Altus, I'm sorry, Rob Altus. Sorry, Rob, I wrote it down. I'm just kidding. I just messed up. I have crappy handwriting. Rob Altus, buddy. Thanks again. Thank you so much, my friend. Hope you're well. And Michelle O'Rourke Johansson. Michelle, be well, Michelle. And that's about everybody. Got everybody handled? Everybody, I hope I didn't miss anybody. I'm trying not to. We like to get everyone shouted out. Thank you all so much for being here tonight. And now we will play you out with these important messages and then our fantastically spectacular credits, of course, created by my wonderful greatest first officer in the fleet, Commander R.M. Briggs. Until then, everybody, trek on and clobber on.
It's clobbering. It's clobbering. Clobberanimo!
If you perceive Alamarine, you'll come with me.
I just love clobbering time.